What's been going on, man?
Nothing, man. Like I told you earlier, just working, trying to stay sane.
Yeah, all this disease and stuff out there.
Yeah, I got nailed with the COVID, man.
Yeah, that's what you were telling me.
Yeah, it was like a bad cold though for me.
Yeah, it was. But you
Yeah,
got to you should have a good immune system from all the anthrax shots.
yeah, no shit, right? So, I didn't get sick for like 15 years, and then at the beginning of this year, I got swine flu, which put me in the hospital for a hot minute, and then I caught COVID right after that. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Jesus Christ, man.
Swine flu was terrible, man. Like, I caught it the week of Christmas. So Hannah and I, which is my daughter Hannah, and I pick her up, and I was feeling kind of weird, had a fever, but then she got sick. So both of us, like all week for Christmas week, are just like laying around. You know what I mean? And I don't remember much of Christmas week, which freaked me out because like later I'm asking Hannah, I'm like, baby, did I take care of you? Like, was I? You
Yeah.
know, were you all right? Did I feed you? And she's like, yeah, everything was good, Dad. Like, you hooked me up, but yeah, I mean, I don't remember much of that week. And then,
Wow.
she was like, you were talking to people though. And I was like, what do you mean talking to people? And, she's like, you would just be laying there and then you start talking. And, I was like, well, what was I saying? You know what I mean? Like, God only
Yeah.
knows, you know? And she was like, I don't know what you're saying. You're just talking. And then, so that Sunday we went to church, and I got there. My pastor was like, dude, he's like, you need to go lay down. He was like, you look like hell. Well, he didn't say hell, but he's like, you look
Yeah,
terrible.
right.
And we went to church. We went to the kids' church and just laid down, both Hannah and I, and just slept until church service was over. But then I got up, and like I was having a hard time breathing, and I just felt strange, man. And
Mm.
I was like, I'm gonna go to the emergency room. Got in the emergency room. They're like, oh yeah, you got double pneumonia. Like it was just nuts, man. And
Wow.
they kept me in there for like 6 days, and
Holy crap, dude.
then I was out for like another 2 weeks trying to recover, like from work. So I missed about 5 weeks of work. Yeah, it was a rough one, dude. And then COVID, man, like COVID was just stupid. We went to Springs like the next day. I had like my nose was getting all stuffy, and then
Hmm.
next day I couldn't smell anything, couldn't taste anything. Then I got a fever for a couple days, some coughing, and it was like that for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, it was like a vacation, really. And I couldn't go to work. Everybody was freaked out about it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you play some games or anything, or catch up
Um,
on some books or something?
no, dude, just definitely Division Two. I don't know. You have an Xbox?
Well, I'm getting to that. We moved up here pretty quickly, so I'm slowly building up my supplies back up. All right. So for everyone doesn't know, this is John Derek Hunt. How we met was he was my team leader. And it was funny because when I first joined the Army National Guard, I didn't have very much money or anything or a car. And the Army, I guess, or the National Guard decided to put me the furthest away from my home they could. And it just stuck that way. And so I remember they're like told me, they said, hey, your team leader is going to pick you up. And I was like, fuck. Like I was so nervous and scared and shit. And then you picked me up, and then it was kind of like a little quiet drive because I was scared to talk to you. And then you told me basically like when you get there, you need to prove yourself because as soon as these guys take a look at you, they're going to want to eat you alive. You got to prove yourself who you are, prove yourself as a soldier, and that you belong there. And then ever since that, man, it was good.
Yeah,
But
it's
we had
true.
our fun times.
We did. We had some really good times there, man. Some really good times. It was a weird ride, you know.
Yeah. It was. I always tell everyone like you're like my military dad.
Yeah. No, I felt like your dad. Jesus. Like this poor kid. I was like, man, tie your boots, son. No, it wasn't that bad, but
Nah, it wasn't that bad. But all right, so let's check this out, right? So let's dig in a little bit. What was it like growing up, man? Like let's just start from a base and then we'll work our way up to the nitty-gritty stuff.
all right, cool. So, my parents were never married. They had me when they were in high school, and so I always had like really young parents.
Mhm.
My dad wasn't around a lot. My mom got remarried. I think I was 2 or maybe 3. Got remarried to this guy Richard. Overall, he's an all right guy. He wasn't too bad. He definitely was a hard ass. But it was just weird. It wasn't like a hard ass where every day was like walking on eggshells. But Richard.
Richard, right.
Yeah. So he's just an Italian dude from Rhode Island.
Mhm.
Wasn't too bad. And then go run up, like I always knew that I wanted to go into the military. Like that's all I could ever think about, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I thought about being done with school or whatever. And then the summer before my senior year, my mom just bounced one day. We literally wake up on a Saturday morning and my mom's gone. Like no note, no anything like that. We didn't even know where she was at for like 2 months, man. It was kind
Wow.
of, yeah, pretty wild. And so, we finally get a hold of her and it's like, oh, well, I left. Well, no shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
um, but yeah, then she wanted the divorce and all that, and so, but I didn't want to go with her because I don't know, man. I was like, there's no way.
yeah.
So I stayed with my stepdad and, I ended up dropping out that year. It was just a weird year for me. So I dropped out, my senior year and then, got my GED and then, floated around for a little bit. And then 9/11 happened. I got my shit together and then joined immediately once that happened.
Right.
I really wish though that I would have went earlier. You know what I mean? Like right after high school. I could have done a couple different things, but yeah, dude, I just too much drugs. Like I mean, I really got into like acid and
Hmm.
uh, mushrooms and stuff like that. I lived in South Beach for like a year, which was just
Oh
insane.
shit.
Being 19, 20 years old, living down
Yeah.
there. Wow. But yeah, and then I moved back up. 9/11 happened, and I joined the military.
That's insane. That's a wild ride, man.
Dude, there was nights down there, like, and this is again 19, 20 years old in Miami. I don't know how explicit, like you you want me to be with some of this stuff, but
Whatever
um,
you're comfortable with.
all right, cool. So this is how crazy South Beach and Miami was. So my buddy Zach went down there. I knew him pretty much my whole life, right? And so he's like, man, you got to come down here. He was like, it's fun, blah, blah, blah. And so I moved down, and the day that I got down there, right, I took a Greyhound down.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that was a ride in itself. But
Yeah, right.
yeah, I get down there. He picks me up from the Greyhound station, and we go back to his house. I get a shower, get changed, and he's like, I'm going to take you to a party. And I was like, all right, man, cool. Small town Claremont, right? Well, it's not so small anymore, but like it was. Party for us was get some beer, go out to the woods, and go hang out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever. Party in Miami is a little bit different. And as soon as we walk into the door of this house, man, there's these two chicks laying on the floor eating each other out, right? And so I'm just like, what is this? And like there's all these different people doing weird stuff. And he's like, oh, they're on ecstasy. He's like, don't worry about them. He's like, let's go to the back, and like, this was like natural for him. Like like it blew little 19-year-old me away. And like, this dude was just, like, yeah,
The
I've seen it all.
everyday thing.
Yeah. And so that kicked us off, man. And so literally just about every night that I was down there for that year, that was the experience. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
just doing drugs and hanging out with just strange people doing weird things. That year it was like I don't know what you would call it, man, but it was definitely a strange one. you know but I got a lot of stuff out of my system when I was ready to join the military. I wasn't really worried about being retarded, because I just lived a retarded life for the last year and a half.
Right. I think that's something that a lot of young men have to do. They got to get that little itch out of their system before you commit to something very powerful.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I think that's what, like, I think that college for a lot of people, that's what that is for them, right?
Sure.
And for us, well, I say us, meaning military people, like that's usually like, your first couple of years in the military, like you're just shithouse drunk daily, but
Hmm.
doing your thing every day. You know what I mean? And like,
Right.
I think we all need that, I like to say of that weirdness, you know what I mean? Like, kick us off. But yeah, you get it out of the way. Some people don't grow out of it though.
Yeah, that's a sad thing, man. I've seen a lot of people I went to high school with and stuff like that, and it just hasn't paid off for them, man.
Yeah, no, for real, me too, man. And like I'll be 40 this year, and I look at some of the people that I went to school with, and moving back to Claremont, which I did recently. I met back up with some of them, and I'm like, you haven't changed, and they're like, oh, that's so cool. I'm like, no, it's not cool, bro.
No.
Like, I'm not giving you a compliment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, you're
you got to
still
tell them straight up.
yeah, man, it's weird, but then you see the other people who've done crazy good for themselves, and they're just genuinely good people, and like you feel good for them, you know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
proud of them in a way, you know what I mean?
those are the people like I envy because I kind of like I'm like I want to be happy like you.
Right.
Like like as sad as that sounds, it's not sad though, but it's like me trying to work on myself to get to that center of like zen.
I do. I feel that. I feel exactly what you're saying because I'm very similar situation, and like, and I think that more recently it's kind of hit me where it's like, what is going to make you happy? You know what I mean? Like, what is it that's going to make you be like the people you're perceiving? You know what I mean? Like the people that you're looking at and thinking, man, you're like really happy. How do I get there? Is it achievable? I don't know. You know what I mean? Are they really that happy, or we just think that they're that happy because we don't know what their life is really like? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and open to growth is one of those things.
Yeah, definitely.
What was military life like for you, active duty as a young active duty soldier?
I went in because I had a GED. Like I pretty much got told my MOS. Like I didn't have a choice. You know what I mean?
Right.
I went in and I was like, I want this, and they're like, no, you're not getting that. You know what I mean? They're like, and I was like, yeah, but why? And they're like, because you got a GED. Like basically, if you want in, we're gonna tell you what you get, or you can walk out.
Yeah.
I was like, all righty then. So my original MOS was a 14 Romeo, which is a Bradley linebacker crew member, right?
A
Bradley
what?
Bradley linebacker crew member.
Oh, okay.
Who the Bradley is, right?
I know what Bradley is, but if you want to explain that
Oh yeah,
for
sure,
the
sure. So
listeners.
yeah, it's like a tank. It's basically has a 25 millimeter cannon on it. Not a big tank. It's not like an Abrams. About half the size of an Abrams. And then the linebacker part for us, we had a Stinger missile system attached to it, which is like a box, with 4 missiles in it,
Hmm.
and primarily used for air defense. Well, anyway, let me go back here. So that sends me to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, right? First time I ever
Yeah.
flew in a plane was flying out to Fort Sill for basic training. It was not hard. Yeah, I mean, you went through it. You know what I'm talking about. Like, it's a pain in
Mhm.
the ass is what it is. It's not really hard. It's just a pain in the dick.
Yeah. Right.
And so then from there, I go to Fort Bliss, which out there is where I went to AIT. I want to say maybe it was another 8 weeks or 9 weeks. I don't remember.
Ooh.
But basically from there, Fort Bliss is a desert, and it is. Fort Bliss sucked. You know what I mean? Like it was just terrible.
It is
But I
terrible.
had a couple of dudes that I went through basic with that were there with me. You know what I mean? So like, and we actually ended up going to First Cavalry Division together. But so that was cool. But yeah, man, Fort Bliss sucked. Like you get out there and you started running. So we go from Oklahoma to the desert. First day out there running, nose is bleeding. You can't because of the
Yeah.
dry air.
Hmm.
Can't breathe. You're hacking up all kind of weirdness out of your lungs. It was kind of cool at the same time. We're learning about different aircraft and stuff like that for a long time, and then they get you in there and you're firing Stinger missiles and learning about the Bradley and like in and out. How to change the track. You're learning about the gun system. You don't really learn so much about like acquiring targets and stuff like that. I mean, you do with the missile system, but those are the shoulder fired, which a Stinger can be shoulder fired or fired through mechanism. So learning about all that stuff. Well, like what was this guy named Jarvis? He was my boy, man. He was like I don't know how to explain Jarvis. He ended up killing himself. God bless him. But
Wow.
still a good guy, man. But he we were out there, and he's a virgin, right?
Yeah.
So we're always busting his balls about it. Well, first pass we get, which is, I think you don't get them for like the first month that you're there, but then afterwards you get like a 24-hour pass, right? And so that gets you out of there on Friday, and you don't have to come back until Saturday night. And then you got another pass. There was another one, and it take you till Sunday. You don't have to go back till Sunday afternoon. And I called him Creeby, like Creeby, not creepy, but Creeby. I don't know why. Like I don't
It's like a
remember.
creepy beautiful.
Kind of, beautiful, creepy. But he was. We go to this strip club, man, called the Cabaret, and it is the most horrible strip club in the world. It is dirty as fuck. No alcohol in that place, right? And so I go to the ATM, and it only spits out lap dance coins. I was like, what the fuck? So I go to Jarvis and I give him a couple of them, and I'm like, dude, we're gonna have to sit here and spend these because I'm not coming back to this place again. So we need to get rid of them now. He is
Oh,
just beside himself, dude. I don't know if he's had never been to a strip club by this point or whatever, but again, Jarvis was a virgin at the time, so
shit.
he's having a blast, and so basically it was for him, you know what I mean? And so letting him have a good time. And by the way, the lap dances were $20. So I don't know if that tells you anything. I don't know when last time the club was, but
Yeah.
actually, I don't know when the last time I was at a strip club, but $20 was what it was. Anyway, so
Yeah.
finally this chick comes out, right? And I've got this thing for like dark skin, dark hair. It's like my kryptonite. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what it is, but
I knew why you were attracted to me.
you can't help it, buddy. You know, you get that Italian Asian thing going on for me. No, but anyway, so like I see her and I'm like, all right, you're coming over here, you know. And so she's giving me a lap dance and you know, doing her thing, and it's full contact, by the way. Lap dances, like this is Texas is awesome like that. Like the most of the strip clubs, if they're full nudity, they're BYOB, and
Right.
so yeah, that's kind of cool, you know. But anyway, and so like she's all over me, man. And then she does something crazy, bro. And she takes her finger and sticks it inside of herself, and then tries to put it in my mouth, right? I like grab her arm, right? And I was like, as it's coming to my mouth, I like grab her arm, and I was like, well, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, you don't want to taste this? And I was like, fuck no, I don't want to taste that. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? I was like, I don't know where your vagina's been. And she was like, well, if you could make me come, you know, I'll fuck you for free. And I was like, God, like how many different dudes has this been on today, right? I'm not doing it. Like I got a little bit of common sense, you know.
Yeah.
But I shake her off me, right? And I just give her all the rest of the coins that I had. Like I don't even know. I was like, get the fuck away from me and just like throw them out, right? And so, and by the way, for your wife, I am so sorry if any of this is offending you. Like you,
Dude,
okay,
she's laughing. She has to deal with me, dude.
okay. Yeah, sorry. So Jarvis, and the smile on this dude's face, I'll never forget it. You know what I mean? Like like I really love Jarvis. He was my boy, you know, and so he's just over there having a blast. Well, I'm sitting at the bar drinking. I think it's like cranberry juice because there's no alcohol, and so he comes up, just big shit-eating grin on his face, and I was like, "What's up, buddy?" I was like, "Did you have a good time?" And he was like, "Dude, she fucked me for $20," and I was like, "On the fucking couch over there?" And he was like, "Yeah." She just unzips my pants and just stuffs me in there, and I was like, "Jarvis, oh my god, bro!" I was like, number one, it was only $20. I was like, number two, how many dudes do you think that's happened to just today? And he was like, it doesn't matter. I'm not a virgin anymore. Dude, it was so awesome.
That's
Love that.
the best. That's
It
the
was.
best. Oh my
But
God.
yeah, and so we ended up going back to post, and I made him go get an STD test. I was like, bro, please, for the love of God, go get your penis checked out. You know? But yeah, man, Bliss was something else, dude. Like there's just so much. I don't know. It was pretty cool. But then from there, that's when I got to Hood, you know, First Cavalry Division, and Jarvis came with me, and then a couple others from there. And I got to 4-5 ADA was my unit, Charlie Company. It was Charlie Battery for air defense. But when you get into a unit, first of all, they're gonna like remember how like you told the story like you're like, hey, when you first get there, they're gonna eat you alive. You need to make sure it's for yourself. That's true, right? I mean, they kind of you get tested a little bit, right? It's not too bad, but you know, on active, bro, it is horrible. The specialists are like that E4 Mafia thing, like that's true. Like especially on active duty, like is. I mean, these three dudes get me cornered, you know what I mean? And like they're just all up in my shit. And like I was nervous, man. I didn't know how to react because I'm fresh out of basic and AIT, you know what I mean? So I'm like with these dudes. And so one of them took me outside. His name was Barker, big black dude. And he's like trying me hard, man, like in my face with stuff, you know, and like I just smiled at him, right? And when I smiled at him, he like kind of looked at me for a second. And like in my ear, he like whispers, he was like, don't let me do this shit to you. He was like, don't do that shit in front of these dudes. He was like, you need to fucking push me or something. Right. And then so I just shoved him as hard as I could. And then somebody comes running over, like we're gonna like thinking we're fighting, you know, and that was kind of it, dude. I was like in at the in crowd at that point, you know what I mean? So it made it a lot easier for me, like transitioning, because a lot of my friends got a lot of shit, you know, and just got fucked with so much. But yeah, man, Barker kind of saved me on that one, you know, and so that was kind of cool. But yeah, that started it, man, right there.
Well, they're trying to teach you. You got to be aggressive. You want something, you got to be aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, realistically, like, but not those assholes.
Oh, okay.
They're just bullying you. You know what I mean? Straight up, like that's
true.
what's happening. You know what I mean? They want to. It's like kind of like going to prison, and that's why I told you, make sure you prove yourself when you get in there. Don't be a bitch, because as soon as you're seen as that, that's it, dude. Like
it's over.
Yeah, it takes forever to wash that away. I mean, you remember Colangelo, you remember some of those other
Oh
dudes?
my God, yes.
Like you're done, you know?
Yeah. Once you get that bad taint on you, bro, you're fucked.
You can't get rid of that shit, man.
Yeah.
You know, you see it all too often. So
Especially in like an infantry battalion or like if it even
yeah,
goes to a division, you're fucked. You're
yeah,
gonna stay
yeah.
at PFC forever.
You are 100%. Yeah, you're done, dude. Um, yeah, and it doesn't matter where you go. If you're within, like you said, the same division, same battalion, like you've got a stigma because we all talk. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
privates are like trading cards. That's one of the most important things I learned.
yeah, yeah, for real, man. It's like Pokemon Go. You
Well,
know?
for like the staff sergeants, it's like, all right, if you buy me this, and this, I'll let you have Munson for a month.
Yeah,
Or I'll let you have this for a month. And then it's
yeah,
like you just trade back and forth, man. It's good
yeah,
because it's funny because people are like, oh, that's disgusting. Well, it's not disgusting. It's how it works. It's how the system works. But at the same time, it gives that private so many opportunities to work with all individuals with all different mindsets.
right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, we would do 1-for-2 trades in some instances. You know what I mean? Like, one of you would be worth like two of the other one. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's right. Behind the scenes stuff, man. Like, but like you said, for that private who is getting traded around, like it it gives them an opportunity, but it also gives them the opportunity to be seen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And to make a name for themselves. You know,
Sure.
or you could be a little bitch to not make a terrible name for yourself too. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like in your court at that point.
Most definitely. I agree, dude. Like some people just don't have it, man, and they slip through the cracks, I guess.
They do slip through the cracks, dude. And the other part too is like I kind of realized this later on in my career is that by not doing your due diligence as a leader or as an NCO, you allow that person just to kind of be shuffled along and through the system. You know what I mean? To let them
Mhm.
slide through the cracks. And I think it's like, and what I mean by that is I don't mean just training them and stuff like that, because there are those out there that are just untrainable pieces of shit. You know what I mean? Like they just are. Like I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but that's true. And but like getting them kicked out, you know what I mean, or getting them, written up, or Article 15 so many times that you can get them out. You can go through that process, but it just takes so much work, and I don't know any of us who wanted to do it. So I was like, you know what, screw it, just shuffle this kid around. We'll all kick him in his dick a couple times, and
Yeah.
hope they'll either learn or just shut up and stay out of the way.
That reminds me of this the sniper thing.
Which
Remember?
oh my
So,
god, yeah,
so,
Jesus, bro.
so there so no shit. There we are, Fort Hood, North Fort Hood, cold as fucking rainy.
A hard ass frozen ground.
Yeah, and we are doing a mock fucking just like roll up, like a dirty roll up, hard knock, fucking kicking down doors
Mhm.
type of thing, but training. This isn't real life. So we go up. We're this is just an observation point. We're just trying to take. We're
Yeah,
just
we were
trying to
cordon.
take this.
We were the
Huh?
cordon. We were the cordon.
Yeah, we are the cordon. So we're just doing like a little thing there. And this, all right, you want to pick it up? So you want
Yeah,
to pick it up from there?
yeah, yeah. So we roll up, and we haven't even started yet, right? Like it's just this. I don't even remember getting the call on the radio yet saying, "Hey, we're live," right?
No,
We
yeah.
just kind of get there, and so I'm in back of my vehicle, and I think I had Brantley as my driver. I had Hernandez as my gunner, and so we're sitting here, and I got concertina wire, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I might as well just put this out." You know what I mean? It's like, so I'm in the back and like doing it, and I hear a single shot ring out, right? And I was like, my immediate thought was sniper, right? So I was like, that's a sniper. So I run over to the radio and grab the radio, and I don't remember if I called sniper or like, well, no. This is what happened. I grabbed the radio, and I'm looking at Hernandez, and I'm like, why didn't you call sniper? And he goes, I wasn't a sniper. And I was like, what the fuck you mean I wasn't a sniper? I was like, who was it? And he's like, I don't want to tell you. And I looked at Brantley, and I was like, who was it? And she was like, I'm not telling you. And I look over, and probably about a football field away, I see Staff Sergeant Thomas's Humvee, and I see these two fuckers walking to that Humvee, and I knew that Colangelo was his gunner. And I was like, and I looked back at Hernandez, and I was like, who the fuck was it? And he's like, Colangelo. And immediately I just started losing my shit. You know what I mean? Like inside of me is like this raging fucking animal, like wanting to just go there and karate chop his head off his shoulders or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these two people who were walking over are actually a colonel and a major.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Walked straight up to him. And I'm looking at Thomas and he calls me over, right? And I was like, I'm not going over there.
Nope.
Nope. I was like, no, I'm not going. And he's like, give me the wave sign, And I was like, nah, you fucking deal with that, right? And so we go through the mission, right? Which it was a pretty quick mission, right? Like it wasn't
Yeah.
that it was pretty quick. And so we exfil, right? And we're all lined up, and Thomas comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, man, we're gonna do a what do they call them? A 3-4. I don't remember what the term is, but an investigation basically."
Okay.
And
For
so I
an
was like,
ND.
yeah, for the negligent discharge. And I was like, okay, that's cool, So this major comes up, and who, in a normal circumstance, like in combat or in theater, rather, that's who would do it. It would be the battalion XO would be the one, and they usually bring in somebody from another battalion, to kind of do this investigation. It wouldn't be your own, and which is exactly what they did. I believe they came from headquarters or something like that, but it wasn't second and 124th. It was somebody else. But anyway.
Right.
I think it was actually first and 20. I don't know. Anyway, so this major, he's sitting in there, and Colangelo and I are standing outside. Now, mind you, I haven't said a word to him yet, like to Colangelo, right? And we're talking about hours later. Like I just couldn't speak to him because I knew what would come out of my mouth would not be anything good. You know what I mean? And I wanted to save all that for after the investigation because I'm not a moron. And so we're standing outside, and he's trying to talk to me, and I just look at him. And I was just like, shut the fuck up with my look, right? So he quit talking to me. And this major says, all right, POC Colangelo, Sergeant Hunt, come on in. So we go in and sit down. I'm sitting on the left, Colangelo's sitting on the right. And he was like, well, and he's explaining to me the investigation, how the process works, and so he goes, all right, Colangelo. He's like, why don't we start with you? He was like, why don't you kind of tell us what happened? And so he goes into this story about how that fucking gun just fires automatically without him touching anything and all this different shit. And so here's another little secret behind the thing. So I was actually started a cycle of steroids when we were at Fort Hood. And I don't know if anybody's done steroids listening to this, but one of the things that you lose is your patience, and you lose it real fucking quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you become a psycho. Well, at least I do anyway. And so I'm fucking stewing, bro. Like I'm mad as fuck. You know what I mean? And like I can barely sit still. Like I'm getting so mad while he's talking. And then out of his fucking mouth comes, well, I really wasn't trained for this weapon system anyway. Oh my God, I about lost it, man. And so I'm like, I couldn't hold it anymore. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, you weren't trained? And I'm like yelling, you know what I mean? I'm like, you weren't fucking trained on that weapon system? And that major like shits his pants. He's like, oh, Sergeant Hunt, I need you to calm down. And I'm like, no, fuck that. I was like, this little motherfucker, blah, 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 right? And so he shuts me down and kicks me out, right? And so Lieutenant, he's a captain. Damn, what was his name?
Gerard?
Yeah, Gerard. Lieutenant Gerard comes and gets me, right?
Yeah.
And so I forgot who our company commander was for that.
That was Swinson.
Swinson. All right. So they walk me outside, right? And Captain Swinson is there, and he goes, what the fuck? Well, he didn't say what the fuck, but he was really cool dude. But we're talking, and he's like, you're gonna roast this kid for this one. He was like, you're gonna get him. And I was like, all right, cool. So one of the cool things though is that major comes out with Colangelo, right? And Colangelo's sweating fucking bullets at this point, right? They put him on that gun, right? And they're like, show us what you know about that gun, right? He goes through every fucking step on how to load and clear that firearm and put it back on safe. And so again, like I'm about to blow up, and so Captain Swinson kind of takes me off to the side again. He's like, don't worry, man. He was like, let him say whatever he's going to say. He's just digging himself into a ditch, blah, blah, blah. And so I calmed down a little bit, but then afterwards, so he was found guilty, the negligent discharge. And so we did an Article 15 on him. And it was company grade Article 15. It was like the lowest level Article 15, basically a slap on the wrist. But one of the things we did do is put him on 10 days of extra duty and something else. And so.
And Fire Guard.
I remember
that.
Oh, yeah. That was another one I should have known right off the bat that day, that very first Fire Guard shift. But anyway, Yeah, dude. So we go outside. We get back. And like, it was cold as fuck, right? You remember how cold it was out there?
Oh, dude, it's bad.
I get him outside and I make him go back in. And I was like, fill up your Camelback. I was like, and fill up 2 canteens of water because you're going to be busy, brother. Right. So he goes, fills all that stuff out, comes outside. And I started smoking the living shit out of this kid, man. And by the end of it, he was puking and crying at the same time. And so that's when I knew, like, I got to get rid of him because I'm going to kill him. You know
Yeah,
what
oh
I mean?
yeah, he can't take it.
That's when I gave him to Sergeant Majors. And that was,
Yeah.
I traded him for, I forgot who I traded him for.
Yo,
But,
when you traded him, bro, that barracks night was hilarious.
that was fucking crazy, man. Yeah, you need to try to get Sergeant Majors on there and let him tell that story because
Dude, I don't know if I have him on Facebook anymore or anything.
I know he got rid of a lot of us. Like, I think that when he bounced out of Alpha Company, like, I think that he thinks that we saw him as kind of a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
How so?
Because he's great.
Well, he is crazy, right? But doesn't everyone need a crazy guy on their team?
Yeah, but like what he did, when we were overseas, like he left and just didn't come back. You know what I mean? Like he did. I mean, that was a bullshit deployment. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was, you know what I mean? And I get it. Like there was no combat whatsoever. But he left and just never came back. And I think that he kind of holds on to that and thinks that we think certain things about him because of that. Does that make sense?
When did he leave? Oh yeah, then he had something happen because of the meds he was taking or something.
No, that was Monforty.
Yeah, that was my 40, and then
No, Majors, his
was that
wife
like?
divorced him while we
Oh,
were
okay.
over. And so he went home to try to do something with that and then just never came back.
I mean, I never thought of him as bad, man. You know, I was he was he was hard sometimes. You know, like you could definitely see the Marine Corps side come out of him when he would smoke the shit out of you. But like besides that, he was like a good squad leader. He knew his shit.
He knew his stuff, man, like for sure. Nick, so I grew up with Nick, right? Like I grew up with him. We played Little League baseball together and all that stuff, man. But he's always been a little off his rocker. You know what I mean? Like I watched him beat the shit out of some dude at school, and like it wasn't just an ass whooping. Like, in high school when two people get into a fight, usually it's just like a couple shots thrown and it gets broken up by a teacher. When Nick hits you, like, I mean, your soul leaves your body for a second and then comes back to you. You know what I mean? And I like watching him kick the shit out of a couple different people, and like, but it was a different type. It was the rage that was coming out of him when we were 16 and 17 was not normal rage for a 16 or 17-year-old. And I'm pretty sure that in another life he could have been a serial killer or something close to it. You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy. He is.
Yeah, and I was glad to have him on my team, bro.
So was I. Like, don't get me wrong. I love the guy. Like,
Me too, dude.
Always will be. You know what I mean? But I know that he's psychotic. You know what I mean?
I think to a little extent we all are in our certain ways, you know.
Yeah. But Nick's trust me when I tell you.
Oh yeah, he's a bad boy. He's a bad boy.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, like, so back at Fort Hood, get on a tangent here.
Yeah, but it's good. Good quality, man.
True. So Operation Noble Eagle. I don't know if you've ever heard of that or not.
I've heard of it.
Okay. So we were the very first unit to kick off Operation Noble Eagle, which was back in 2003 for Bush's State of the Union address. It was actually really easy, but again, gave you the first taste,
Sure.
So while that's going on, that's when the invasion started in Iraq. Our sister unit, 4th ID, which Fort Hood at one time, I don't know if they still do now, but 4th ID shared half the post with 1st Cav. And so they bounced, man, like right then. And so we missed the first Cavalry was supposed to be part of the first invasion, but we were tied up with Operation Noble Eagle and a couple other operations around the U.S. And so they kicked out 4th ID, and that kicked off the invasion, man. Like it was kind of wild. And then we were on par to go. You know what I mean? So like as soon as we came back, they cut Operation Noble Eagle short for us to get our asses back to Fort Hood to get prepped and to go out to the National Training Center in California. So shit got real, like real quick, so we come back from Noble Eagle, and then we're hitting the rail yard, we're getting everything loaded up, ready to go. Then we hit NTC, the National Training Center, for like 2 months. It was the longest NTC rotation at the time for any unit that had been there. And dude, they call it the sandbox for a reason. Like, it's
Right.
Southern California, in the desert, in the mountains, and we were out there for 4 weeks straight, which a normal rotation is a 4-week rotation period. You got 1 week of prep, 2 weeks in the box, and then 1 week to get home. We were a week of prep, 4 weeks in the box, and then 2 weeks to get home. Like, it was pretty
That's
intense,
rough.
man. I think they knew what we were going to get ourselves into, you know what I mean, when we were
Oh
getting
yeah.
over there, because '04 was the fucking Wild West in Iraq. Like, that shit was nuts, you know what I mean? And we kicked, again, we kind of kicked that shit off. We kicked off the whole thing. I think it was March of 2004. So yeah, prepping for all that, like, it's getting real, but at that point, we're like, this is what we came in for. We didn't come in for some bullshit Washington D.C. mission. We came into to paint some walls red with motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Right. Take it to
Like,
the enemy. Yeah.
and yeah, man. So that pretty much led us into '04, and that's when it got real, dude. Like, boots on ground. Like, I think we were in country for a week, and we started doing our left seat, right seat ride with 10th Mountain. I think it was 10th Mountain is who we were with in Abu Ghraib. That week, I got my first taste of, like, gunfire. You know what I mean? Like, that shit. Like, sometimes some people can go their whole year in a combat zone and not, what I mean, like, never fire the weapon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude, our first 5 days there, we hit some, they ambushed us. And once they ambushed, that was an Abu Ghraib. They saw the vehicle change, right? Well, I think what was told to us and what we think happened is, you have your markings on all the vehicles, and as soon as they saw the vehicles change markings, that's when they decided to hit us. And it was Abu Ghraib. I think it was like March or April of 2004. And then yeah, that kicked it all off, man. 7 days in Abu Ghraib fighting straight. Like, it was fucking bonkers,
Wow.
it got wild. But yeah, man, that's where it all started. I remember my
Damn.
first firefight, dude, about shit my pants, literally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the bullets are zinging over your head. Like, you'll hear a pop or a zing, and man, I was like, I froze. You know what I mean? Like, it was maybe like 3 seconds most. You know what I mean? But like, you get that fucking freeze. It's real. It is fucking real. And then
Yeah.
it's something flips inside of you, man, and you just start, doing your thing. But yeah, that's what kicked us off was there.
So that operation was just Operation Iraqi Freedom, right? That was just the surge in.
Yeah, so I think that was yeah, OIF 1, or maybe that was OIF 2. I don't remember like which OIF it was, but it was definitely OIF.
Yeah.
Enduring didn't happen. Enduring was Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Iraqi was us. I think it was like the 1 or 2. I don't remember what the invasion was called. But yeah, anyway, we're on the same page.
How did combat change you, good and bad?
Like I was telling you, I mean, right out of the gate, we jumped right into combat, man. It got, deep for us, and it didn't stop. Like, so Abu Ghraib, we were there for 7 days. We got basically, like, our supply line got cut off, our ground supply got cut off. And so they were airdropping stuff into us, and it's not, we weren't even that far away from base. Like, this is how crazy that shit was.
Wow.
And the weirdest thing I think I ever saw was after the initial ambush, we fought our way through it, and then we didn't go back in. You know what I mean? So we were only prepared for I think it was like a 6-hour mission, and so because it was left seat, right seat, you know what I mean? And so we weren't even hitting that thing full time yet. Like, it was just, we were all prepared for 6 hours. So we didn't have the water, we didn't have the ammunition that we would have had it,
Wow.
and all that different stuff. And so that taught me some crazy different lessons, military speaking, right? Like, some crazy lessons going forward about 6 hours can, like, very quickly turn into 96 hours, or, even further, you know what I'm saying? And so when we were training you guys, I think that, we were beating into your heads, like, real hard about, making sure we had water, making sure we had the ammunition and stuff like that, because a lot of us had seen what it's like when you don't have that kind of stuff and you're not prepared. And yeah, oh no, it's only supposed to be this. Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? It's what it can turn into. And I think that very first mission, well, it wasn't even a mission, but that very first fight that I got into taught me about being prepared. You know what I mean? Like I think that overall in life, I have this thing now. It's like this. It's almost to the point of OCD, where, and I'll just give you an example. I went to the beach 2 weeks ago with some friends from church, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was kind of a spur of the moment thing for them. And so they invited us, Hannah and I, when I say us, out. And so when I got there was like no plan. Like they didn't have a chow plan, you know what I mean? And then for the next day, they didn't have a plan. And that drove me crazy. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't fathom, like, I'm like, whoa, hold on. You know what I mean? Like, why are we doing this all on a whim? It doesn't make sense to me, but I think that, Iraq, I'm going to go right back to Iraq, kind of put that into me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when we go on vacation, I drive my daughter fucking batshit with it, but you know what I mean? But like when we go on vacation, dude, I'm packed and planned for like at least, if it's a 3-day vacation, I'm packed and planned for 7 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's 3 days, you know what I mean? Like, in same thing with groceries. Like, I've always drove my ex-wife nuts with that, is like, oh, we only need a few things. No, fuck that. You know what I mean? Let's just prepare. I don't know. Like I'm always thinking more than just now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're always 2 steps ahead.
Right. But it's to a detriment too sometimes, right? And so, and how it's a detriment is, I think too much about what's going to happen next. Right. And so, I've been really working on this thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but it's called, like chess or checkers. Right. And so I think a lot of people live their life by playing checkers. Checkers is a fast game, where you're hurrying up. I got to get to the other side to get king. Right. But in chess, like, it's take your time, plan out your moves. You know what I mean? And like, and the having the patience to understand that your next 5 moves might take 2 months just to do that next move. You know what I mean? And so, like, that's a part that I'm trying to work on. And then when I say to a detriment, like, it's we want that instant satisfaction, that instant gratification. But my planning is I'm trying to learn how to be a little more chill with it. You know what I mean? And not be so worried about what's going to happen 5 moves later. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, dude, totally. I'm on the same page, bro. Like, that was a big problem for me. And then when I went to marriage counseling, that was one of the ways that they said, you have to be able to compromise. And one of the compromises, I had to let that shit go.
Right.
You just can't worry. Car's not always going to be clean. House isn't always going to be clean.
Right.
Like, and I was super crazy about it, to a point to where, like, there's no medium. I was overindulging. Like, I was like, wham, this is going to be like this. But, that was a part of me that I wasn't letting go from the military side. For me, medicinal marijuana has helped a lot. Especially with severe back pain and stuff like that, man. It's just like anything. Like, if I hear fly wrong, sets me off.
Right.
So I know exactly. Yeah, it helps me relax a lot. So, and that's, I definitely feel you on that one, man. Most definitely.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The weed thing for me, like, I love it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't love it because it helps me. I love it because it gets me high.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you have a purpose for what you use it for. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, for me, there's no purpose to it other than just to get fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I'm gonna tell you this: like, there are certain situations where I won't do it unless I can either smoke a J or like eat a cookie or something. You know what I mean? Just because it takes an edge off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
it does
do that. But I overindulge in that type of stuff, and then, like, it becomes more of a hindrance. You know what I mean? For me personally,
it's still the same thing
like
for me.
Yeah.
It's also, it's still expensive. I mean, alcohol's still cheaper by far. But if you shop smart and you go to the right places, man, you'll be okay. But yeah, I mean, and that's one of the biggest things that I pulled from my thing is I noticed how big of a difference alcohol posed in my life compared to marijuana.
Right.
Like, alcohol was a killer for me, man. With my attitude, with my depression, anxiety, everything I have, alcohol was like pouring gasoline on fire already, man.
Yeah. No, alcohol is I don't want to bash it because, like, every once in a while it's cool to have a couple drinks, but for me, man, like, alcohol is just, I don't like it. You know what I mean? Like I don't like the day after. I mean, the other day, like I went and got my tires done, and while I'm waiting for my tires, there's a Gators there, so I went and had a beer.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong. But I do this thing. I forgot what they call it. Oh, I'm a binge drinker. Like
Yeah,
that's
me
what
too.
it's
I
called,
was.
right? Yep. And so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, dude, you can go from 200, in one night, and then the next, like, you're just fucking crazy the next day. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
Yep.
terrible, dude. Like, I hated it so much. And yeah, so I really haven't drank like that in probably about a good 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe almost 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, like I'll go have a beer. You know what I mean? Like I'm not totally against it. You know what I mean? I really control myself when it comes to beer. Like I can't, or alcohol in general. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
same thing. Like I got to control myself.
I that's one thing I didn't have is I didn't have that control
Right.
because alcohol was my outlet for pain relief and for I don't know, like masking my internal or my mental stuff, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude, I get it.
But as soon as I tried weed, man, like for the first time, I was so nervous, dude. Like I felt like I was like, remember my wife helped me roll it. I was like, dude, I don't know how to do this. Like
Right.
I've been working for the man for like the past whatever, and I don't know, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
Like it was like when I was going through like my bad alcohol phase, and
Hmm.
then got into narcotics because of my two surgeries and shit. So like heavy narcotics, like fucking oxycodone tens and perk tens and shit.
Yeah.
And so she noticed that my pain or my anger levels were getting worse and everything, and taking out on her and the kid, which was horrible. You know, no one
Right.
should ever do that to their family.
Yeah.
So she really kind of painted the picture for me to say, hey, try this, give it a try, and then gave it a try. And ever since then, man, it's done wonders for me.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Like it's always really good to hear, like especially with people that, I've served with, like when they find things to make their quality of life better. You know what I mean? Like regardless of what that is, you know what I mean? And truly, I don't mean like, you know, somebody like, well, I'm not going to say his name, but one of our buddies, drinking is his thing, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just what he does. And he tells me that it makes him feel better, but I'm outside looking in and I can see how his life is not better. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I don't tell him that because I don't want to be the one to maybe make things worse for him. But I can see how it does not make his life better. When you hear stories like, like yours and, a couple other people that, I served with and are like, oh man, I found this and this is what, makes it better for me. You know what I mean? Like that's always awesome because I know what that side of that coin where things are not good is. And that is a shitty place to be in. And, and it's not even people with PTSD, like from the military. I mean, it's all walks of life have,
Sure.
PTSD is all over the place, dude. And anybody who can come out and be like, hey, this made me feel better, and this does that. And it's like, awesome. Like, I feel so good for it. You know what I mean? There's people that can do that because there's a lot out there who don't, man, who don't find that peace. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I always tell everyone the first step is you have to admit to yourself. You got to look yourself in the mirror or whatever you got to do, and you got to say, I got a fucking issue, and I need to deal with
Absolutely.
this shit."
Yeah,
Because
dude.
if you can't do it, no,
Right.
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. You know?
Yep. Exactly. But I mean, if you think about it though, like think about like your life in general, and anytime that you're doing like any kind of self improvement or you're trying to develop something, like how do you know what to develop until you know what the problem is, right?
Right.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Something so simple as like writing an email, you know what I mean? Or whatever, you know what I mean? Like at my work, it's I have to communicate with people who are way smarter than me, right? And so I had to learn how to communicate at a level, their level, right?
Right.
And so and dude, I'm a high school dropout, you know what I mean? Like, and so first I had to identify like, okay, I'm a fucking retard. So how do I do this? You know what I mean? And then there's books out there. There's people you can talk to. There's people who can teach you, blah, 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 blah. And so you can really take that principle and apply it to all of your life. You know what I'm saying? And just realize that, especially if you're trying to self improve, and I think we should all at least be into that to some degree.
I believe so, man. I think all of us as human beings in general should have something. You got to have continuous goals
Right.
because once you fall off that goal list, you're kind of just putting yourself in limbo, and then your brain goes into this mode of like, what's going to make me happy faster?
No, yeah, you're right, dude. So like I'm kind of in that rut. I don't know. I don't want to make it sound like I'm in a bad place because I'm not. I'm in a really good place, but I'm in this position right now where I'm like, I don't know what to do next. You know what I mean? Like I don't have any goals right now, and I need to figure out what do I want now. You know what I mean? Like because I've got a great job, and I'm doing really well for myself. I've got a place, and I've got a daughter, and it's like, okay, so what's next for you? Like, what do you want to do now? What's your next goal? How do you want to make your life better? And so I'm kind of stuck with that right now. You know what I mean?
It's
Yeah.
going to take time. It might not. You could wake up tomorrow and be like, I got it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, dude, you're right, 100%. And it's not depressing me or anything. I'm just saying, like, I'm kind of in a weird, I don't know, a holding pattern.
okay. I feel like, sometimes you can even have everything you want, but there's still that void that's in, you have one little void and you're like, I'm not satisfied yet. Especially if
Right.
you're like hard headed or you're like a go get it type of personality. Because
No,
your
I get.
mind is always telling you, go get it, go get it, go get it. And then sometimes your body's like, no, don't want it. Or it's like, another part of your brain's like, can you really do that?
Yeah, but you got to figure out what that void is, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, you got to understand what that void is, and that's where that's where I'm at, like trying to figure out, well, what is that void? Because there is a void there. You know what I mean? I just don't know what that void is. Like, I don't know if it's, I need to find somebody that I'm willing to settle down with and be married to. Is it family? Is that what I want? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And so, like you said, though, you just got to identify what that is and then go get it. You know what I mean? Figure it
Yeah.
out.
I mean, I always tell people most of the time, I mean, I'm not calling myself stupid, but I am not the smartest person ever, So, or in the cram box, we'd say. But it's like, damn, where was I going with that one? Goddamn, short-term memory loss, bro.
It was philosophical though, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was going there. It was going there. Hopefully it'll come back. Yeah, I think I was saying whatever you got to find what your strengths are or something. I don't know. My mind just
Yeah,
totally like rebooted on me. I was like, "Boo-doo," like
yeah.
that. One of the questions I always wanted to know when you got, well, I probably asked you, but I probably don't remember now because it's been a long ass time. When you got out of active duty, what made you want to join the Army National Guard?
So that one, it's not really a tough question, but it's definitely one that I have definitely worked on. You know what I mean? Like trying to answer for myself. You know,
Mm,
that tour in Iraq, man. We talked about like that first 7 days. You know what I mean, and what that was like, and the whole tour was like that. So about we spent, I think it was another 3 or 4 months. We went to Fallujah, and from there we came back down and we were on this route called MSR Tampa,
mm-hmm.
and Tampa was like the main supply route. And so we fought up and down that thing for months, as we were QRF on there, like the Quick Reaction Force, and gotten all kind of firefights and just all kinds of craziness, man. And then they pushed us over to Route Irish, and we were on there for the rest of the tour, which I think was like 6 months, maybe 7 months. I don't remember how long I was there for. It was like 13 or 14 months. During that time, right, like I had lost 3 or 4 really good friends, and that put this weird taste in my mouth about the Army, right? It's like I almost blamed the Army for what had happened, right? But I
Right.
knew, but I knew that's not true. You know what I mean? Like it was this weird thought process. I think it's just part of your grieving, and really, you don't have time to grieve over there with stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like you lose somebody that you really truly love, as a person, and you need time to get over that shit. But we didn't have that type of time. You know what I mean? Like, and it was. I remember my sergeant major at the time, crusty bastard, man, but he was a good sergeant major. We're at Davies. Davies was like my boy. Like we were really tight, man. And I lost him, and we were at his funeral, and well, not funeral, but like a little service that we had for him. And I remember sitting there, like looking at his picture, man, just bawling, dude. I couldn't control it. You know what I mean? Like I was just crying so hard. And my buddy Pollack, is another really close friend of mine, comes up to me and he puts his arm around me, and and we're both kind of just sitting there crying. That's what we were doing. And Sergeant Major comes up to us, and he like looks me dead in my eyes, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, there's no response to that. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there crying like a little, girl. And he goes, he was like, we got like, I think at that point we had like 8 or 9 months left. I don't know, but he put out some number and he was like, we got this long left. He was like, are you going to let this fuck your entire existence up and fuck everybody else up? He was like, are you going to get the fuck back out there and do what you got to do? Again, how do you respond to that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's like, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do what I got to do, And so that was like basically him telling me, get my head out of my ass, like stop crying over days. There'll be time for that shit later, You kind of go on. And then, we were right back out on mission. And it wasn't, I think a couple months after that, like I got hit in the car with a car bomb. And, that killed another, like two of the guys. There's really no time to take to say, to let these things sink in or to process the loss or, process things that happen. And so the shit builds up inside of you, you know what I mean? And all of our different things are happening, chemical imbalances and, whatever
Sure.
else, these things, these psychiatrists comes up with. My contract was up, would have been up in, I think, 2005. Yeah, it was like a month or two after we got home. And so I fell within the reenlistment window while we were over there, right?
Shoot.
Davies just died. Rainier just died. Titus just died. And then I got hit with a car bomb and they're talking about reenlistment, right? And so I'm just like, do I want to keep doing this? You know what I mean? Do I want to keep going through what I'm going through right now? You know what I mean? And really, I'd be just honest with you, like the war itself, like killing people, I don't know that bothered me so much. Like I know that I knew that after I killed my first person, a piece of me died with that person.
Sure.
It's like being a virgin and losing your virginity. Like something pops, you know what I mean? And that's, you never get that back, that innocence or whatever it is. Like it just never comes back, dude. Like I don't know. And maybe that piece of you needs to die in order for you to keep going, or maybe that part of you needs to die, or maybe it eventually dies somewhere in your life as you're growing up, and I'm not necessarily saying that you have to kill somebody. I'm just saying like maybe that part of you dies anyway, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? But when you kill somebody, it's abruptly taken from you and you never get that back. And it becomes easier, every time that you do it. Like, and I don't mean to sound like a serial killer or anything, but like, every time the next firefight is way more easier than the last one. The next person you shoot and kill is way more easier than the last one, and it's just kind of this weird cycle.
Yeah.
So all that it comes into place, and so I'm like, man, fuck, I don't know if I can keep doing this. But I was still very cognizant of the fact that this is my dream. You know what I mean? Like I'm literally living my dream right now, At the time I was dating my ex-wife. We were together since we were like 16 or 17 years old. And I think I'm
Oh,
like 20,
yeah.
I'm 24 at this point. And so, I call home and, back then we could only call home like once every 2 weeks. Like it was weird. You know what I mean? Like the phone sucked and just whatever. So I call her and I say, hey, I was like, I'm up for reenlistment. I was like, and there's a lot of pressure for me to do something. And she was like, well, if you reenlist, I'm gone. She was like, I'm gone. Like, I'm not doing
Yeah.
this anymore. But you can totally understand that. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
so I don't hold anything against her with that. And I was like, okay. I was like, what if I did the National Guard? And she was like, well, what is that? And so I explained it to her. I was like, I'm home. We might deploy for hurricanes, or whatever, is happening around. I was like, and I got to go at least 1 week in a month to go train. And then 2 weeks out of the year, I'm gone. She's like, well, I can do that. And I was like, all right. So that decision came. And, looking back, like at that pivotal moment, your life is at a crossroads, right? And so do I want to go continue following my dream and be selfish and just only think about me? Or do I want to build something with this girl that I know that I love, and so I decided to go National Guard,
Okay.
like so I could still hold on to that piece of me that wanted to be military and that wanted to do the exciting things that we did, um, and still have a family, you know what I
Right.
mean? So, and that's kind of why I made that choice.
So let's talk about more your time. Let's talk about your time in the National Guard. So you get off active duties, and then you get your contract with the guard. And then you get sent to, where'd you go first?
Alpha Company was a strange place when I first got there. These guys were together overseas in Iraq. They were there in 2003, right? And so they were all together. They're tight. You know what I mean? And I'm coming in from active duty number one, which they absolutely hated us because we treated them like shit while they were overseas. You know what I mean? Because they were pogues, like in our eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So man, it was rough. Like those first like good 6 or 7 months in there, and you want to talk about proving yourself. Like I came in and we went straight to AIT, right? Like I mean, like yeah, it was weird. And so, do you remember Montero?
Yeah.
So he's my first team leader, right?
Whoa.
I don't remember who our squad leader was, but anyway, so and they're all like they treated me like shit, and I thought I was better than them, like which made it even worse. You know what I mean? Because like I'm like, how are you pogue motherfuckers gonna sit here and treat me like this? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when like I'm seasoned, bro. I just came out of the shit. You know what I mean? Like whatever. It's a weird thing. I don't even know how to explain it to you, dude. But I knew what was happening. It was a hazing phase where I got to show these assholes what time it is. And so we get to AIT,
AT.
AT, yeah,
Yeah.
AT. And so we get out there, man, and I was like, it's time to turn it on. And so I'm in E4, and Montero is my team leader, man, and we're out there doing our thing. And like every exercise that we had, like I'm just smashing it. You know what I mean? And because I'm just coming out. It's like all this shit is fresh for me. You
Oh
know what I
yeah,
mean?
you're good.
Yeah, like radio, like whatever it was, weapons. I'm just like blowing through this shit. And so we get to this one point, and we were at the fake village out there, but this is before they built the whole concrete village, right? That wasn't even the thing yet at this point. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, Mount City.
Yeah. So this was Old Mount City, which was just it was like portables that they had brought in, like it's just old beat up shit, right? So the job, like our squad we were to come in, Alpha was going to do the first initial going through, and then Bravo, we were going to come in and kind of clean up batter, right? So Alpha goes rushing in, and they go downstairs and get waxed right out of the gate. All of them are killed, right? And so we go in as Bravo, and Montero freezes, right? He's just like, and so I look at him, and so I just started giving orders, right? I was like, you go clear that room, clear that room, clear that room. And so like I'm just guiding everybody, getting around. We get everything cleared. We actually find the bad guy and then wax the other bad guys, you know what I mean? Or we find the person we were there to kit, whatever, you know what I mean? Like to capture, whatever. And so at that moment was when everything changed for me for Alpha, and I became, the guy, you know what I mean? Like, and so, that was kind of cool. But yeah, the Alpha Company in general, man, like there are people who had been in the National Guard for like 15 years, and the old National Guard where everybody wants to go and just drink when they go out to the woods and all that shit, that was gone. You know what I mean? And like this is the time when it was transitioning, into what it is now. And so a lot of those dudes, like it was just weird, man. And I didn't like it really that much because I was like, this is not professional. This is not the, you know what I mean? Like eventually that wears off and you realize it's just another weekend. I got in real good with Cerrone, and Mattarelli came along, and then I just started seeing the other side of the coin. You know what I mean? And that's the shit that goes on behind the scenes that nobody knows about.
Yep.
And how shady a lot of stuff is, and that's when I really I really stopped caring at that point. I was like, now it's just about how do I make it through here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do I make it here? And to make it as most comfortable as possible for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the shit that's going on there.
Well, I feel like our, like before our first deployment, like would be like your second. I feel like that was some of the best training we ever got because we had guys that were all combat vets that all had seen rounds come at them, put out rounds downrange. You guys were like, we were doing building clearing. I mean, we were doing like legit shit, man, legit training. And
you're absolutely right, dude.
Yeah.
That AT that we spent out there, I think it was October, right?
Yeah.
that was a badass month of just what you guys turned into from beginning to the end of that was what you were, I think, was at your peak. You know what I mean? Like you
Sure.
guys just, I mean, we took a bunch of fucking morons and turned them into, I mean, I would have deployed with any one of you for the most part. You know, I mean, there's a couple that I would have liked to have just kicked off to the side and never looked at again, you know, but yeah, we were ready. You know what I mean? I was proud of what that accomplished. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was good stuff, dude.
I mean, by the end, I mean, we had everybody sucking our dicks. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the whole battalion was like, "What the fuck, Alpha Company?" You know what I mean? And like you said, that was because of the people that we had, man. Like, we brought in some people that knew what the fuck they were doing.
Well,
You know?
and it wasn't, it's not, and it's not even because you can know what you're doing, but you got to have confidence, man. Like, that's one thing that I learned after I became like a seasoned D4. And
Right.
then you start doing like these FTXs and shit. And you're like, oh, they start killing off platoon sergeants and all this other stuff. You're like, well, what else am I going to fucking do? Just sit here and play fucking Who Wants a Teacup? Like, pick up somebody's saw and go do something. Like, it's better to do something than nothing,
Right.
you
Just
know?
react. It doesn't, even if it's the wrong fucking decision, you reacted, and that's what's matter. That's what's most important.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of guys are very timid and scared at first, but I think
Right.
that's something the Army overall is trying to change. They're trying to change that dial tone back instead of like super aggressive. We just want trained pit bull killers. They're trying to dial it back to like, hey, let's think about this before we do this.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, the Army's always had a little bit more of that than, you know, some of the like other than the Marines. Like, and I always use this example between Marines and the Army infantry is in the battle drills for Marines for a dug-in machine gun position. Right, the battle drill is you just run at that son of a bitch, throwing hand grenades and shooting. Like literally,
Yeah.
that's their battle drill for it. Right, where ours is you make contact, then you flank it, you
Yeah.
know, and take care of it. And so, like, I've always used that as an example, like, because people are like, oh, what's really the difference between the Marines and the Army? Well, those assholes will run at a gunfire, we'll flank it and kill it. You know what I mean? Like, they'll just run at it and kill it. You know, they don't care how many have died, you know?
Yeah, that's true. They're
Right.
pretty savage.
I don't know if that's savage or not, though. You
Well,
know, like,
that's that's one thing that you taught me, man. I remember I was always like, like always like, didn't matter. You could tell me to pick up rocks and throw it at somebody and I would do it. And you're like, sometimes you got to think. Like sometimes you go run at a hill. Why don't you make sure that you're not receiving fire or look for a different element to take
right,
instead of going straight at it?
right. There might be a better way, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's always a better way, man.
You know, like one of the things that for whatever reason, like I definitely wanted to talk to you about today. You know, when we talked about this a while back, there's something about Iraq specifically that it's old, right? Like so you know that whole area over there is like the cradle of life. They call it, you know, is one of the areas that they thought were the cradle of life because of
Yeah.
how old that area is, right? And when I mean old, is old as in like occupied by humans, right?
It's ancient.
Ancient, right? Absolutely. And with that, I think comes certain things, right? And so I'll kind of explain what I'm talking about now. You know, I left Alpha Company, and I was real good at hiding things. You know what I mean? Like while I was there, and when I was at Charlie Company, you know what I mean? Like internally, like what's the battle and the things that are happening, like inside me and inside my head. And I think it's another thing that I was doing by staying in the National Guard was prolonging my healing,
Yeah.
right? I was afraid of it. You know what I mean? And like, and by holding on to the National Guard, I was able to put it off. You know what I mean? Because I had to be a certain way for you. I had to be a certain way for, you know, the other soldiers. You know what I mean? Like I had to be, like I had to. You know what I mean? Like in order for you guys to have the confidence in yourselves and confidence in leadership, we had to be a certain way. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And so that hidden, it caused us to bury a bunch of different things for ourselves. You know, when I left Alpha Company, that was the beginning of my descent, right? Like so. And what I mean by that is like that was the beginning for me for the healing process, right?
Right.
But I had to hit bottom first, you know what I mean, in order to be able to heal. So I left Alpha Company, and I actually moved up to Lake City in Florida, like up North Florida with Lowe's. And then I kind of worked my way back down. Meanwhile, I was still in, you know, the military. And then I got about 4 years ago, is when I really, something happened to me, you know, and like, I think between then and like these last couple of years, I mean, you've probably noticed it, like reaching out to me, you're not going to get a hold of me.
Right.
Yeah, I call your
Exactly.
messages. You know what I mean? I saw you calling, but I'm not going to answer you because, I number one, I'm not in a place to talk to you. And number two is I was like broken, man. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
just broken apart. And like, I didn't know how to talk to you. We all have this one perception of what somebody is, you know what I mean? And then like when it's really not that, what happens? You know what I mean? Like, and so that's kind of where I was at. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not.
No, no,
Right.
I totally get what you're picking, or I'm picking up what you're putting down.
So yeah, dude, I was in a crazy place, and I'm getting a little nervous to tell you about this because it's gonna make me sound crazy. You know what I mean?
No,
But I
go
don't
ahead.
shit right now, because I got to say it. But so the whole time after I came back from Iraq, I would see like shadows. I would see all this weird shit. You know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
really just attributed it to a head injury, right? Because the car bomb, like I had a piece of metal sticking out of my freaking head. And so one of the things that always stuck out to me was like Mon 40 was another one. Like we would talk about it, man, in the shadow people. Did you ever talk to you about the shadow
Oh
people?
yeah.
Right. And so that shit's real, right? And well, we're seeing it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how you want to quantify real or not, but like we're really seeing this shit. You know what I mean? Like in so he and I would have these long discussions about it, man. And Mon 40 was, he was kind of drugged out a lot. And so it was hard to actually have like a decent conversation about it with, it was real for me, like, cause I was seeing him, and I would try to talk to him about it and he would just go off on some weirdness, you know what I mean? Cause like say he was high or whatever, you know what I mean? Like most of the time. I'm carrying this shit with me, man, and I'm seeing this everywhere I go. Wherever I move, I'm seeing it. Like where
Wow.
at work, I would see it. Like it's just all over the place, right? And it's just something I started getting used to. And I get to the job that I'm at now, the building that I'm at now. I'm at the distribution center in Kissimmee. I was like they call him coach, but basically it's like a department manager, right? And so there was another guy there. His name is Dion. And Dion comes from a background of pastors and ministers. Like his sister, his brother, his father, like all of them are, right?
Right.
I don't even know how it got brought up, but we were talking about, being in the military, being in Iraq. Oh, I know how it was. He was like, "So you were in Iraq?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, okay." He was like, "My sister works with a bunch of guys coming back from Iraq." And I was like, "That's cool." I was like, "What does she do?" And he was like, "Well," he was like, "these guys coming back from there." He was like, "They're seeing like all this different weird stuff when they get home." He was like, and she's trying to kind of help them through it. And like just was like a light went off on me, and I was like, "What kind of weird stuff?" And and so he was talking about, he's like, "Well, they talk about like shadows and people walking around." He was like, "But they can't see who they are. They're just, shadows everywhere." So I was like, "That's me." I didn't tell him that, you know what I mean? But
Right.
I was like, "So I'm not the only one," you know what I mean? Like, and I knew I really wasn't because Mod 40, but again, Mod 40, I didn't know what to trust, what he was telling me or not, because what he was going through. I end up meeting this guy who worked for me. His name is Scott, and he asked me. He was like, he sees me kind of stressed out, running around. We're crazy busy. He's like, "Man," he was like, "You need to come to my church." And by the way, like I'm not trying to preach to you or anything like that, so don't take it like this. I'm just
Oh, no
letting you.
worries, man. You're all good. No
All right.
worries.
He goes, "You need to come to my church." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really into that. And so I was like, "Yeah, I might come." So I ended up going to a regular church, right? I find it, and I end up going to it a couple weeks later. I'm sitting there talking to this pastor, right? And I'm like on the fence about telling him some of the stuff that I'm seeing, you know what I mean? Like the shadows, and just the weirdness. And I end up telling him, and he was like, "Oh yeah." He was like, "I hear about that." He was like, "You guys come back from Iraq," and he was like, he's like, "It's demonic." He was like, "That's what it is." I'm like, I don't know if it's demonic or not. I was like, I really think it's a head injury. But you're talking to a pastor.
Right.
So one day, dude, I'm sitting in here and watching TV, right? And my daughter's bedroom, I can see into it from where I'm sitting, right? I got a small condo, 2 bedroom, 1 bath. And like, so I'm looking at her room and I look up on the ceiling and I shit you not, bro. There's this thing upside down on her ceiling, like hanging from her ceiling, and it starts walking across, and it's got like this white face, and it looks me dead in my fucking eyes, and just is staring at me with pure just hatred, right? And I
Mm.
walked back through, and I'm like, "Oh hell no." And so
Yeah.
I called my pastor, and I was like, "Man," I was like, "This happened." So he tells me what I should do, and so I end up doing it. And eventually, like through like my faith and stuff like that, like I stopped seeing all these weird different things, you know what I mean, like happening. That kind of takes me back to like Iraq, man. Like, so while we were over there, man, like a lot of the stuff that was happening, like if I think about it now and like looking back, like looking at some of these dudes' faces, and when you're looking down the scope at somebody, like you can see their face, before you kind of turn them into pink mist, you know, but like their faces, man, like I always remember that, like how contorted and just how weird everything was. And it was like the dreams that you'd have over there, like it just like, it's almost like that we were fighting a spiritual battle, you know what I mean? Like, and we brought that shit home with us, you know what I mean? You know, you look at the amount of guys coming back who are just killing themselves, and who, like, you know, and by the way, like I was telling you, Jarvis killed himself, my boy Wagner killed himself, you know, Pollack, like there's just, the list goes on, man, and they're all just killing themselves, and I don't, it bothers me because I got to a point to where I thought that I was going to kill myself. You know what I mean? Like I really did. I thought I was just going to end it. You know what I mean? Like so much so that I got rid of all my firearms. Like I don't have any guns. I don't have anything like that because like there was a point, man, I thought I was just going to do it. You know what I mean? And just a few years ago, you know, when you talked about being able to, you know, find weed and how it helps you, and you know, you're finding yourself, and you're finding your place in this life now, and you're able to kind of focus on the thing, you know what I mean? Like everything that it's doing for you, like that's what, you know, this religion has done for me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like
awesome.
this place, right? We got to be careful though, like with people coming back and forth, you know, from like Iraq and maybe, you know, Afghanistan and stuff like that, because I think that like whether you believe, well, I'm not gonna say you, but whether anybody believes it or not, you have a spirit, you have a soul inside of you. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't, that's why I think there's so many different religions out there, is because that a long time ago we figured this out, you know, as a human race, is that there's something inside of you. You know what I mean? There's something that's driving you. Like you think about it, right? Like we're, how evolved we are as humans. You know what I mean? Like we are top of the top. You know what I mean? Like we build things. You know what I mean? We have podcasts. You know what I'm saying? What
Yeah,
other animals,
exactly.
that kind of stuff, right? Like there's something in us, whether you want to call it a spirit, a soul, or whatever anybody wants to call it. And when you put that thing into situations like war, and you've got two different forces going at each other, like that's got to do something. You know what I'm saying? Like to you spiritually, you know what I mean? Like it either dirties your soul, or things get attached to you, you know what I mean? Like spiritually, or whatever the case is. You know, I think that that's why I really, when you brought up, you know, hey, I want to start a podcast, I think I'm going to do this, this, and this. Like I thought, like, man, that would be awesome. You know what I mean? Like, and I understand what your goal is with it. You know what I mean? And where you see it going. You know, this could be like a really good outlet. You know, you bring the guys on and you talk to them, and you get other people's stories out there, man. And I think it's an awesome thing. I really do. You know what I mean? Because I know, and I know I'm all over the place with this, but my brain is going a million different miles an hour
Yeah,
with
no
it.
worries, dude. You're all good, man.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's great that you doing this, and I think that it gives a lot of us an opportunity to kind of speak about where we're at, what we're doing, how are we coping, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
and and you know, even it doesn't matter what it is, you know what I mean, as long as you found something that's making your life better, you know what I mean, put it out there, dude. Like talk to other people about it, you know what I mean, because who knows what somebody else is going through. And you know, pills aren't working for me. You know what I mean? Okay, that's great. Now go try this. Why don't you smoke a joint and see how that makes you feel? You know,
Right, exactly.
but I mean, that works for me. I like it. I like it. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, dude, kudos to you, man, because there's some weird shit out there, you know what I mean, that people go through,
Hmm.
and and it needs to go out there. It needs to be told. Like those stories need to be told, you know what I mean, regardless what that story is.
I agree. I feel like I'm trying to bring something to the table because I've been deployed, but I've never seen combat, direct action combat, you know? So it's just kind of like my advice for like my generation, people who train their whole lives to go to combat, get deployed, but it's not a combat deployment. It's more of like just a convoy mission thing, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's struggle for a lot of us, you know, for I definitely think for my generation, like the '08 guys, the guys who joined in like '08, '09, it's hit and miss. You either
Yeah.
go or you don't go. But when I was listening to a couple other podcasts and they talk about, you know, you're here for a reason. There's a reason you made it so far, you know.
Right.
Uh maybe there's a reason why I didn't get an active duty slot. Maybe there's a reason why I couldn't pass my ASVAB, you know, like there's all these things that connect if you sit back and you just take the time and think outside the box, think, you
Yeah.
know, think a little bit of your subconscious a little bit, you know?
No, absolutely, man. And for you to be able to find that kind of stuff, or that reasoning rather, you know, that's kind of awesome. You know what I mean? Because like for me, it took me a long time to understand that. And then my outlet and my way of understanding all that is through, Christianity, right?
Hmm.
Like
Right.
it gives me this different outlook and this different perspective, and and it gives me something more to live for. You know what I mean? And so again, you know what I mean? Like that, it's awesome that you can kind of come to that conclusion. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't, buddy. A lot of people don't. You know, and the combat thing isn't so much. Like I can understand your frustration with that because I think that shit would have destroyed me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it 100% where you're coming from with that. How frustrating it is. You know what I mean? A dream, and you're trying to fight your way through it. And, well, no, we're gonna send you to Kuwait for a few months. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, dude. That was just such a heartbreaker, man. And it's like, but you see the bigger point of the mission. Like, if you think outside the box, I was thinking about it. I was looking over some of them, like, my Army Achievement Medal, but with some of the bullet points it said, and I was like, that does make sense because we did at times escort VIPs with no buses. They just
Right.
sat in the trucks with us or certain things like that. So, and the bigger picture is you're getting troops that are fighting on the front line back and forth in and out of country safely. So,
It's true, man. That's true. I still hated it though.
yeah, me too. It was really stupid, dude. I think that was my big downfall in 2011. Why? Like, because in 2011, I got to a point where I was going to take my own life. It was
Right.
bad. I never told anybody that. Yeah, and then I like called my sister, and she's like, she got like a degree in psychology, but she was like talking to me, and that's not the best way of things, and she didn't talk to me as a bro. She talked to me as a professional.
Right.
And at the same time, though, like I figured myself out. I was like, I figured I went down a dark road and I got to the bottom. But and that's another thing, even getting to the bottom doesn't mean you're going to go back up again. That means you could go back up and then come right back down again if you keep repeating your negative behaviors.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like my ups and downs have been all over the place for the last 10 years. You know what I mean? Like I just climbed out of a down, you know what I mean? And I was up, you know what I mean? Like, and it is a cycle, but what for me personally, like I'm learning more and more about how to deal with that. And for me, it is a spiritual battle. You know what I mean? Like it really is for me, and I know that, some people might disagree or whatever, but it is what it is. Like for me, it's a spiritual battle 100%. And I might be a little bit crazy and I might have some brain damage, but like, I've seen the spiritual battle. Like I've seen the spirits, you know what I mean? And like, I didn't like it. I don't like seeing them, you know what I mean? And, I've had some weird dreams that are like, I never remember my dreams, but these 3 dreams I'll never forget in my life. And I know the 3, you know what I mean? And so, and for me, that was God specifically reaching out to me to tell me, this is what you're battling and this is how you're going to battle them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it kind of gave me a, a new direction for my life because, at some point I just thought that like I was just gonna no, I didn't think I wanted to I didn't want to come home. I would just rather die on the battlefield. Like I never wanted to come home. My
That's
first year, I didn't want to come home,
Yeah, that's how I felt. Well, I mean, that's how I got myself psyched up for. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna be honest, I psyched myself up for because they're not going to tell a young private all the details. They keep us in the shadows so we stay motivated. Because
Yeah.
what happens if they would have told us in the beginning where we were going? Nobody would
People
want to do
talk about
shit. So you're training to such high standards, all this stuff, and then it's just like a kick in the nuts, and you're just like, man. And then you don't think you're ever going to get a chance again, man. That's why I hung out all the way till Africa, and then went to that, and I was just like, dude, they did it fucking again. But then my back just blew out, and I was just like, I'm fucked, man. Like,
No, I feel that, dude. Like, cause like other than delaying the inevitable, I was hoping that's kind of where we were going. You know what I mean? Like I wanted Afghanistan bad. You know what I mean? Like, in I didn't want Iraq necessarily because I knew that there wasn't shit going on over there anyway. But I wanted Afghanistan, and I thought that's where we were going. Like that was the rumor, you know what I mean? We're going to Afghanistan, and that's what I wanted. And after Kuwait, I was like, these motherfuckers, like, we're not gonna do that. Like, you're not gonna say,
they're more for the badges and glory than they are for actually for the troops.
right? Yeah,
Just that
Florida.
that industry, that brigade.
Yeah, Florida. Yep, they're not. They're for the like you just said, the glory. There's
Yeah.
no glory in going to fucking Kuwait or Africa, dude.
No, that's That's what I'm saying, man. It's not glory for us. It's just badges and stars for them. That's what they get out of it. They
Yeah, they
get
definitely tried. They threw everything at me to stay in, going into Africa, like E7 schools. And I was like, no, where was this shit at 10 years ago? You know what I mean? Or
yeah,
5 years ago when I wanted it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
now, like I'm leaving and you want to give it to me? Like, I don't think so.
No, it's a dumb game they play, and I think that's what turns a lot of people off. Is this dumb game they play? Like, I get the point of the army's always going to get what the army wants, but you're playing with people's lives, man. And I don't think that's something that the big government thinks about. You put these kids through all this stress and all this shit, and then they picture something that they want. They achieve a goal, and then you take it right out of them. And then it's like these people go home, they kill themselves, or fucking do something, man. Fix the fucking issue.
Yeah, but see, I don't think they're going to be able to fix the issue.
No, I
And
don't.
I don't even know if they. And again, it's a matter. I think a matter of opinion is. I don't think they understand what the issue is. You know what I mean? And like back in hundreds and hundreds of years ago, like Roman soldiers, when you became a soldier and you left and you went into combat, you weren't allowed back in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. You were done. You were going to be somewhere around the world, or you could move back to the city, but you weren't allowed in Rome as a soldier anymore.
Really?
Yeah. And like the reason that they did that was because something happens to you when you're out there on the battlefield, man. Like something in you, like something happens, you know what I mean? And again, like, you can look at it from different perspectives. I'm going to see it from the spiritual perspective is like something happens to your spirit and your soul that changes you as a person, and you open yourself up to different things and you become a different human being. And think about it, dude. Like we come back home, these soldiers killing themselves. It's
Mm-hmm.
just you turn into something different, man. You know what I mean? And like the world, or like our current society, is not built for us, our type of people. You know what I mean? Because you're a different
It's
person.
not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man, because like people always tell you, oh, you can do something else. And which is true. You can do something else. You don't have to be a gunfighter for your whole life.
Right.
But taking a gunfighter and then or whatever, and then you have that amped upness, you have that anxiety, you have that you're always on watch, everything, and you put them back here and you just expect them to go back to normal. Like one of my biggest things I told the VA about myself is I said, for 8 years, they trained me like a hungry pit bull. They beat me, or, I didn't say beat me, but, it's like you beat a dog, you feed it raw meat and steroids and gunpowder, all that dumb shit. And then you let it kill other dogs. But this dog didn't get to do any of that. And now you're going to set me back into the regular world and you're going to think I'm going to be okay, right? I
Well,
don't
they
think so.
expect you to be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the expectation, but it's not true. You know what I mean?
No, hell no. When you flip that switch in your head from being a regular person to be turned into a sharp killer, it's different, man. It's a switch that changes you from where you used to be this innocent person to now you're a killing machine. And then from there it goes to back. Now you have to be normal again. Here's some tools, some quotation marks.
Right.
And you just do what you do. Here, we'll throw some pocket change at you here every month, but yeah, do your thing.
No, you're definitely a different type of person. Like I look at every time we don't do the meetings anymore, but like in my current position, I'm what they call a senior leader, right? So there's 8 of us that run, that facility. I'm an assistant planning manager. And so I have a planning manager and then we have an operations manager. We got all this sort of stuff, right? So I'm sitting in a room with these people and I'm looking at them and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you all are just soft and like weak people, right? They're all smart. They're all super intelligent. Like, and that's not what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like they're different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my boss, like I'm aggressive, man. And like when I got something, and especially when I feel I'm passionate about it, like he just gets the fuck out of my way. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna chew his ass up just like I am anybody else. You know what I
I
mean?
would
Like
too.
my fucking way, man. And but it's like this weird thing that I had to learn how to adjust to them. You know what I mean? Like, because they don't adjust to you. Like that ain't how that shit gonna work, bro. Unless they've even remotely had any type of training. I don't even know, not even training, just experiences in general. Like, they could adapt to you, but like they don't adapt to you. You have to adapt to them. You know what I mean? And I think that's been the hard struggle, is me adapting to them, because like sometimes I have to peel it back, and I'm like, oh, I just freaked everybody out with that shit. You know what I mean? I got to calm down a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things you taught me that I remembered is it can't always be about you. You got to share the opportunity with other people.
Right.
It was like a little bit heavier than that, but I can't remember verbatim because that was a long ass fucking time ago.
Yeah, man. Like you do, and I try to tell that to my daughter all the time. You know, like she's 11, she's naive. You know what I mean? Like she's a little girl, and I always want her to be that little girl. I know it's not, what it's going to be like, but like with her, one of the things I always try to teach her is that realistically, like nobody gives a shit about you. You know what I mean? Like, and what I mean by that is like, yeah, people may come and go. People will love you. They might not love you, whatever that is. But like, you've got to pay attention to other people, and you got to pay attention to what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, you got to pay attention to them because they're not paying attention to you. That's how people get wrecks. People run you over. You know what I mean? Because you're just not paying attention. And if you're the one paying attention, then you're a lot less likely to fucking run into that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
I agree, 100%, dude. It's crazy, man. And I think there's a place in this life for guys like me, I feel, and guys like you that are like A mentality, aggressive, and like to get shit done, because I think we all fall into our ruts, like we said. You're going to get to a point where you're going to be like, my whole life I was told not to quit, but now maybe I feel like quitting. Maybe I should just be a quitter. Maybe that's something different now, because you used to always going 100% all the time. Fuck it. Be one of the shitbags for once,
See what that tastes like.
Yeah, and it was a nice taste. I got a little taste of it, bro. It was a little different, and but it took me down a really shitty rabbit hole that is still taking me a little bit to get out of.
Yeah, but the point is, though, man, is you're climbing your way out of it, right? Like, no matter how slow it seems like it's going, or like how whatever you feel, it doesn't matter, right? The point is move forward. Like, even if it's a fucking inch, and you got to fight for that fucking inch every day. Fight for it. You know what I mean? Fight for that fucking inch, man. And that's kind of, where I'm at. And I had to remember that shit. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the way I feel right now. Some days I'm just like, fuck, I'm not moving where I want to be moving. And it's like, yeah, but you're moving, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you're moving. It just might not be where you want to be. And that's that thing I was talking about earlier with the chess and the checkers. You know what I mean? Like, it's really about chess now. It's not about checkers, So just keep moving forward, dude.
I agree the same way, man. Like, I think that's what needs to happen with a lot of people, a lot of this new generation, just don't quit yourself. Don't quit yourself short. Just keep going, keep pushing. You never know where it's going to take you because you're still young.
That's true, but I have no connection to this new. I can't I got no connection whatsoever to these people, man. I don't even know who the fuck they are. You know what I mean? Like, I got nothing, man. And I don't know if we're considered the 9/11 generation or what's considered the 9/11 generation anymore, because all of us were around when that shit happened. Most of us watched it happen live. You know what I mean? And it did something to us. And maybe we need another 9/11. You know what I mean? To snatch us back into reality. I hate to say that because I don't want people dead, but truth of the matter is like, look how divisive we are right now, and how it's just fucking crazy right now.
Well, it's insane what happens when a tragedy like that in America happens, and how close it brings everyone together in a matter of minutes of it happening. People are holding each other. People are digging any colored person out of dust. People are letting people into homes that are strangers, and people are not trying to kill them. They're trying to seek cover. They're trying to figure out what the hell is happening. And I feel like, I think the people have gotten to a point now where they feel like maybe it's too safe, or they feel like, they want to revolt. I don't understand. Like, I get everyone has the right to protest and freedom of speech and everything else, in which I'm 100% for, because I have a lot of friends that died, or not a lot, but I've had some friends that died for it. And, you've had people that have died for it, and you've bled for it. But, I don't know, man. It's just, but I just don't agree with the looting and shit, man. Like, everyone that knows some type of degree of law, like, when you're looting and stealing and setting shit on fire, that's the amount of capability they need to just shoot you.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's like, I'm not trying to start like something crazy, but what I'm just trying to say is like, I just don't think it's taking anybody anywhere. It's just hitting a brick wall.
Yeah.
Both sides are hitting a brick wall right now. No one's getting
Yeah.
anywhere with this shit.
No, I know, absolutely, man. And and like you kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier when you were talking, is like, if there is a group of Americans who feel a certain way in this country and they want to get their point out there and they want to send a message, then fucking send it, man. And if that means kneeling during the national anthem, if that means, sitting out and doing protests, you know what I mean, or whatever that means for you, then do it. Right?
Yeah.
Just don't cause harm to anybody else, and don't, try to ruin things for businesses. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, make your point. You know what I mean? Like, make the change that you think needs to happen. I'm all right with that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it's like to be, a black man in this country. I'll never know what that's like, right? So I can't sit here and judge people who feel that they are not treated equally. I don't know what that's like, dude. I don't know what they feel. You know what I mean? So if somebody tells me that, then I got to say, okay, if that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. Make the change that you need to make, or do what you feel is necessary to make that change. You know what I mean? And I'm all for it. Like, do it. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't want anybody feeling that way, and if you do, then there's a reason. By all means, do what you have to do. But these white kids that are out there fucking starting all this trouble and this, that, you know what I mean? Like, stop. You know what I mean? Like, sit the fuck down, little boy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
don't
I
do that.
agree. And there's certain communities that can't even get out of their own community. They're stuck. And it's really fucked up that politicians don't even give two fucks about that.
No, that is.
They use it like they piggyback that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's fucking horrible. And these people are suffering, dude.
Right. That's why when you said that you moved out there, I was like kind of shocked at first. I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like I know there's some weirdness popping off out there right now. You know what I mean? Between Washington, Oregon, and California. Like, it's something strange is happening out there right now, and I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. I don't know what it is. You know what I mean?
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, I don't even think the people who were doing it know exactly what's happening. You know what I mean? But yeah, I was like, damn, bro, you got some balls going out there right now. But dude, I don't know what's going on anymore in this country. I don't know what's happening worldwide anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see people come together more, but I just think that I think it has to come from every side, dude. Everyone has to be on the same page. And if everyone's not on the same page, you're always going to have your dividedness and everything else like that.
The word you were looking for was division, by the way.
Yeah, division.
Just joking, bro.
Do you have anything you want to say, Nicole? She was saying that the part about the kneeling part, she said that they kneeled, but they still were ridiculed for it, which is true.
Yeah, they're ridiculed for kneeling.
Yeah,
no, they are. But I mean,
so I was curious about your feelings about that, because you said you were pro for peaceful protesting. But like, what's frustrating is that most people weren't. Like, most people were like, "Oh, that's disrespectful to the flag, this, that, and the other." But
no, I understand. I think I understand where you're coming from with that. And so I agree with you with the piece that maybe they weren't getting the exposure, or their voices were not being heard during the peaceful protests with that. But what I look at is, and again, this is just kind of me looking at it, is that white America, the problem, I think, is that white America doesn't take a step back and look at the fact that they will never understand what it means to be a black person in America. They'd never understand what it means to be a Mexican coming through, in trying to make a home here, or a Cuban coming from a tore down country to try to make a home here. Like, I don't think that people make it a point to try to look at it from that perspective. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Again, I don't know what it means to be a black man in this country. Have I seen racism? 100% I've seen racism. I've seen it from my family. I've seen it from close friends. So I know that it's alive. And so when people try to be like, oh, this country's not racist, well, that's usually coming from a white person who's never experienced racism, right? And so, or if they did experience it, they didn't realize that's exactly what they were experiencing. You know what I mean? So I get it. Racism is very much alive in our country. When, we talk about like the peaceful protests. Yep. Again, I'm all for it. Do your thing. The looting and stuff though, like, I don't feel like that is the people who are protesting. I feel like, when I see the looters, I feel like those are people taking advantage of a situation. And most of them, from what I can tell, and again, I can only see what the media shows me, right? So that's already in question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
But it doesn't look like to me that it's like the black community starting that. To me, it looks like white people starting that and starting these problems, thinking that they're doing the right thing for the black community. I don't know. You know what I mean? Again,
Yeah.
you see what I'm trying to say? Like,
Oh, I agree. Yeah,
yeah,
most definitely.
because I really, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed in the sense that we do have a group of Americans in this country who don't feel like they are treated equally. Like that shit, that it really makes me ashamed of things here. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason that they feel that way. There is an absolute reason that they feel that way. You know, I don't think until the white community takes a step back from their high horse and looks at it like realistically, like there's not going to be a change. And I don't, and she's 100% right when she talked about that kneeling and them not getting that voice heard, because even again, friends of mine, right? I'm never going to watch NFL again if they take a knee, right? And it's like, bro, like, fucking check yourself just for a second here. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about an entire community who feels a certain way. You know what I mean? Let's listen and hear what that way is. You know what I mean? And like, because you can't tell me that you don't see the racism, dude, because it's there.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
I mean, like, if anybody who says that shit is just hasn't looked, or they refuse to look, or they're just lying. You know what I mean? Right.
So like, just to use as an example, back when Colin first started the whole kneeling for the anthem movement, and then a lot of other athletes started following that example, I heard a lot of different opinions from a lot of different people about how, like, oh, kneeling disrespects the flag and people died for that flag. So you as a veteran, like, my question for you is, how do you feel about people saying that, like, about veterans, like, oh, there's veterans that fought for that flag? Did you really fight for the flag, or did you fight for the people? That's my question.
No, and I'm really glad that you said that. So first off, with the kneeling thing, just my opinion purely on it is that every American has the right to kneel and protest against that flag. Like, our country was supposed to have been founded on those types of principles. When you feel something is unfair, or you feel like something is unequal, I mean, go back to when 1776, you know what I mean? When this stuff happened, we're talking about, like, we bucked against the system because of taxes, right? So now, do we need to buck against the system for racism? Yep. You know, absolutely. Especially if this group feels this way, if the whole community feels that way. So kneeling for the flag does not, in my opinion, does not disrespect anything. They're actually exercising the things that, we sign up and fight for, to uphold that Constitution, that freedom of speech, right? That is not disrespectful. And people who say that it is, and I'm sorry if anybody in there is one of those people, it's kind of ignorant. You know what I mean? Because you think about the protesting and what that means. It's a freedom of speech. You know what I mean? Even up to burning the American flag to prove a point or to protest, realistically, is not unconstitutional. And it should be somebody's right to protest however they see fit, as long as it does not hurt or injure, anybody else in the process.
Right.
And then the veterans who come out and say that shit, like, here's what I got to say about that. There are a lot of veterans out there, right, that are just garbage, right? They don't understand the true meaning of being a soldier and what that really means. You know what I mean? That means being a soldier is that you have to understand that you are fighting for everyone's rights. You know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to uphold the Constitution. That doesn't mean that you uphold the Constitution for only white people. You don't uphold the Constitution for only black people or Spanish people or immigrants or whatever. It's everybody, right? And that means that, like, if somebody wants to protest again by kneeling, then we have to allow them to do so peacefully, right?
Yeah,
without just smashing them over it, man, because that shit's not fair. You know what I mean? And any veteran who comes out with that is just, they truly don't understand what it means, to sign your life away to fight for that Constitution.
That was like another thing I was going to hit on. It's like same veterans that where you're like, I don't know, somehow they you like ask for like a military discount because I'm buying like a $200 battery or something, you know? And like, because I have things, right? If it's like $4, I'm not asking for military discount. I'm not one of those crusty assholes. But like, when it comes to like, if it's like $400 or something like that, hey, can I get a military discount, man? Come on.
I don't even use any of that, dude. Like, and I'm not saying that you're not a good person because you do it. Like, that's not at all. Like,
No.
for me, like, I don't take advantage of any of that stuff. I probably am stupid for not doing so, but I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't like doing it because, and I really don't like somebody thanking me for my service. I know that might be pretentious or, you know, whatever, but like, I don't see it. I think it's weird when people thank me for my service. I
Yeah,
do.
I don't like it either because I feel like I didn't serve properly. Like,
Well,
you know what I'm
you
saying?
still no, but your intentions, right, were
Yeah.
in the place, right? Just because the government didn't you do what you think they should have done with you doesn't mean that your intentions weren't there. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Oh,
would
of
have went
course.
gladly given your life for anything. I know you. I know your heart. You would have done it. You know what I mean? And so to me, like you did, man. You served the purpose that you were supposed to serve, whether you liked that purpose or not. You know what I mean? Your heart was there. Your heart was in it for the right reasons. You didn't do that shit for college money. You didn't do it for anything other than just some innate thing inside of you that wanted that to happen. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's the true meaning of it, man, is to be there for anybody. And that's what like this whole immigration thing too, that really bothers me, dude. And I know that we're kind of on a different political tangent here, but like I have people that I know that work with me and for me, coming from Cuba and talking to them, man, like the stuff that like they get these little coupons, right? Monthly. And these coupons say, okay, for the month you get 2 gallons of milk, you get 4 loaves of bread for a month, right? And if they don't have those coupons or if they use them up, then there's almost impossible for them to buy this stuff because it's so expensive for them, right?
That's
Who
crazy.
the fuck wouldn't want to leave that? Who wouldn't want to leave that? Do you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, I'd want to get the hell out of there too. I'd want to get my family. And if it meant me swimming miles across the shark infested ocean, I would get my damn family somewhere where it was better for them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where they better. And like, in the same thing with Mexico. Mexico is a drug ridden, just hellhole right now. And so, am I saying that, you know, that I don't have a problem with illegal immigration? In a sense, I do because I know the stresses that it puts on our economy to an extent, right? To an extent, and like I want them to come here. Like I want these people to be able to come to our country and live a better life because, man, like I know what it's like in some of these countries, dude. I've been there. I've seen how poor they are,
Mhm.
and the poorest people here in our country don't touch the poorest people in some of these other countries. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
bad, and so come here. You know what I mean? Like so I really I do have a problem with some of our more extreme beliefs in this country and
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, like I'm a registered Republican, you know what I mean? Like and I still have those types of values, but I'm also somebody who understands the true Democrat purpose. You know what I mean? Like I understand that purpose and I would support it if it weren't for certain things that, you know, just kind of happened with that party, you know, but I get it, you know, and I have the heart to want these people here. I have the heart to understand that yes, our country is fucked up and there's racism all over the place. Like it is true, deep rooted racism. So I get it all, man, and I understand it. I
Yeah.
just it just kind of sucks, you know what I mean? Because like it's real heavy, you know what I mean?
It's very heavy, and I feel like it takes life experience and age to understand what's going on today. Like if I was 20 years younger, or sorry, if I was like 10 years younger, would that be 23 again? uh, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, ah, stupid motherfuckers. Who cares, man? You know, whatever, you know? And then when you're in your 30s and you got a kid, you got a wife, you're trying to build a life, you don't think the same anymore, man. Now it's more sensitive. Now it's more, don't think about myself. Stop thinking about yourself. Stop being selfish. Now let's start thinking about how my wife feels about things.
Yeah.
Well, you know, what's my kid going through? My kid, we up and left our apartment and he doesn't even have his own room right now, you know, because we're staying with in-laws right now, you know, until we get our place.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad for him sometimes because sometimes the stuff that he says, I'm just like, but and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, like the thing with kids too, and this is something I've realized as Hannah's gotten older, is that they're really resilient. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That doesn't mean that you can kick them to the ground and do horrible shit to them, but it also means that, like, yeah, things might be tough for a little bit for them, but they're easy to make happy as long as you invest the time in them. You know what I mean? And like, and get that close bond, and it'll be better. You know what I mean? Like, you know it's going to get better. You know that your situation is what it is right now, but you're looking to make it better, you know? And so, I mean, don't try to beat yourself up too much about that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that was my issue a lot. Is like especially when I first had my kid, I thought, whew, man, I was like, I wasn't ready for. Or when I had my kid, I wasn't ready at all.
None of
Like,
us.
I didn't know what the fuck to do. And then when I was in Fort Stewart getting medically boarded or med boarded out of the military, like I missed like 9 months. So like 9 months of connection and stuff like that that my wife had with him that I didn't have.
Yeah.
And it didn't keep him away from me, but I just didn't know how to act with him. So I would overreact or underreact, or still to this day, sometimes like a big loud cracking sound happens and I'm like, what? Like, or I yell at him because that's one of my things that
Right.
bothers me still to this day is just a loud noise out of nowhere. Like I'm fucking going crazy, at least for a good like 3 seconds.
Yeah, I still jump really weird with the loud noise thing. Like, it happened in church the other day, and like everybody kind of stared at me for a second. My pastor, like, he kind of was cool though. He stepped up and he was like, "Yeah, you know," he's like, "You guys don't know what this dude's been through." He's like, "Chill out." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah, dude. Like the yelling thing. So like, I'm kind of the opposite, right? Like, I don't yell. Like, and I know that might be weird because of what you know of me, but like with Hannah, I don't yell at her at all,
Mm.
right? When she does do something stupid, you know, and kind of warrants like any type of discipline or something like that, like there's this sharpness in my voice. It's not a yell, but it's more like, you know, yo, you know what I mean? And like she
Yeah.
gets a knife hand, right? And like she knows instantly, okay, I just fucked up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but I'm not saying that you're a bad person for yelling, because, you know, it's just people yell. That's what happens. Like, but
Yeah.
I don't, but I'm the opposite way. Like sometimes I, I, I coddle her way too much, bro. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, and like, I I don't know how to explain it to you. Like, I really, our discipline, my disciplining for her is more like a conversation. You know what I mean? Like,
That's how it is with me.
I've never spanked her before at all, ever. And I don't think that I ever will. I mean, obviously she's getting told now for spanking, but like that little girl is got me wrapped around her finger, bro. Like, I can't really, like she just does, man. Like, and I
Yeah.
love her so much that I don't even know what I would do without her. Like,
Same thing here, bro. As much as my wife doesn't think, I have certain emotions and stuff because sometimes I can be just a cold stone idiot.
right.
Uh, I if I my something happened to my kid, dude, it would be like that movie, Law
Dude,
Abiding Citizen. Like something happens, a bad thing, really bad thing happens to his family, like a burglary thing. The government doesn't do anything, and the guy gets out of jail, and he comes back in force, bro. Like he's an engineer. He takes like 5 years off, and he's like building all these plans, all these like that shit would be going down.
right. Yeah, I don't know, man. I love that girl so much that, like, I don't even know how to explain it. You know, oh, you're a dad, you know what I'm talking
Well,
about.
you can't explain it. You can't.
Yeah,
There's no words to explain the happiness. And
yeah,
even no matter how mad you are at them, they do that one little cute thing, and you're just like, oh god damn,
yeah,
man, I can't. All
yeah,
right, come here, little buddy, come here. You
yeah.
know. And what thing for happens to me is, my dad was very abusive to me at a young age, and I just sometimes when I'm yelling at him, I stop at midpoint. I'm like, don't do that to him, man.
Right.
Don't do that to him, because I don't want him to have to go through something like that.
Yeah, that's why I think I was worried about having a boy. Like, I am so happy I had a girl, because I think with a boy, I would be very hard on a boy. You know what I mean? Like, and just for the sake, I don't know if it's because of childhood or what have you. I just would think that, like, I know how dumb I was as a kid. You know
Me
what I mean?
too.
Like, just the stupid shit that I did, man. And I would be like, you know, you're not making those same mistakes, you little bastard. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be too much. You know what I mean? And like, and that's, having a daughter is like the cutest thing in the world. Like, absolutely, and it's a picture that I have on my phone. I got it in a couple different other places. Is like her laying on a couch, like I'm laying like on my side, and she's like laying out on her face, and she's like looking up at me, and just like the look on her face is like, it just melts my heart every time I look at it. And we're talking about 11 years later, you know what I mean? The same picture, like, it's like, I just look at it and I'm just like, Jesus, how did I deserve you? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
of all things, like, how did I deserve you?
I think it's more of I think people will say like when they're in their lowest points in life, and if you're a parent, you might say, "Man, this is just too difficult," or blah blah. But then it just takes that one little spark that I think every parent gets when they have a kid, are always going to be there for him no matter what.
Right.
Yeah, my kid's the same way. No matter what he picks in life, I'm always going to be there for him
Yeah.
because I've thought I've gotten to that point where I'm outside the box now of that one tunnel away vision, and I can see all these other pieces to the puzzle in life.
Yeah, dude. I don't know how people come to that where, I really think that if Hannah, let's say, she grows up, whatever, she kills somebody and is looking for a place to hide, I'll be the dad to hide my daughter. You know
Mm.
what I mean? I just don't care, man. Like, I just love for that girl to grow unconditionally. Like, and I don't care what she grows up to be. You know what I mean? Like, whatever she wants, like you said, like, I mean, like, are you happy? Happy, then that's all that fucking matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Like,
You guys have plans to come back anytime, or are you going to stay out there, or what's the deal?
we're up here for good, man. And then probably from here, depending on what type of salary job she gets,
Right.
we're gonna maybe look into Oregon,
Oregon.
but not Portland. It's like further north.
Let me tell you, dude. There's a Lowe's distribution center in Lebanon, Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
and so I got to go over there for like a week, and it was one of the most beautiful places that I ever have seen, man. Like, it just, like, not the building, but the building is like nestled in between like mountains and stuff and like these valleys. And dude, driving there is like, I was just like, holy shit, it's beautiful here. Like,
It's amazing, dude.
yeah, it was just so awesome.
And the
Like,
people are different too.
yeah, well, the people around there were cool. You know what I mean? Like, I really dug them. Like, they were awesome.
It's like old America.
Right.
Talk face to face. You shake hands. People are good. They're very neighborly.
Right.
Yeah, friendly. I was gonna say gratuitive, but I don't know if that's the right word.
That means you give things. No, but yeah, I liked it out there, man. I really did. Like, Oregon was fucking cool, man. And,
Yeah,
and I really like the fact that I could go to a store and buy weed. You know what I mean? Like, because while I was there, of course, I went to a shop.
You can grow it there, bro.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I was into that. But like, I would definitely grow weed if I was there. I would, do all that fun stuff. But it's a cool place, man. I really liked it, And the coast is fucking amazing. Like, you know what I mean? With the cliffs and whatnot. It was just whatever. The whole thing was just cool. So I'm kind of
I think when you live in a flat state for so long and you get to see the real beauty of America, like in certain states, like,
yeah.
What is it? Montana, Wyoming, Washington State. You get to see like that very, mountainous, very big trees.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I do. I understand fully what you mean. But there is something about Oregon, dude, that really is attractive. You know what I mean? Like,
is.
I don't know, but that's cool though. So you guys, that's it, huh? You're done. You're gonna stay out there.
Oh yeah, we're gonna stay up here, and then maybe when you got some free time, you could take a plane up here for like a week.
100%. Yeah, dude, I would definitely come back up there. Like, I liked it. We're gonna go to Vegas, I think, in October. At least that's what I want to go in October. I've never been to Vegas, and I definitely want to go see that. And then the next year, man, you guys should be nice and settled in by about that point. You know what I mean?
Hopefully, yeah, should be good.
And we can make a trip out there, like, because that's one thing that I told myself too that I want to do. Like, I'm in a really good place, and I got to start living. You know what I mean? And I gotta get like, I just gotta live, man. And I'm tired of not living. You know what I mean? And I have not been living like in the last 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, I got the divorce coming right out of our last deployment, and ever since then, dude, I've just been existing. You know what I mean? And I'm done existing, bro. I'm done with it. Like, I want to get out there. I want to, I'm tired of these cookie cutter relationships too. Just find somebody to hook up with for a couple weeks and be done with it. Like, I'm over all that. Like, I'm just done with all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I want to find a cool person who is cool. You know what I mean? Like, just like live, man, and just go fucking live.
I feel like for us, that was like I was always the type of person, like my wife is always the type of person. She's always wanted to be out of Florida. She was born and raised there. She doesn't want to. She never wanted to stay there her whole life. She always wanted to move. And I was always the person like I'm an easy person to please. Like you're like, here's a sandwich and some weed, and here's a shed. I'm like, okay, cool, man, thanks.
Yeah.
You know, so I could have stayed there my whole life, dude. I don't care because I'm like, I'm like, oh, well, I'm medically retired. I got a pension, decent pension for the rest of my life. So I'm just gonna chill, man. Maybe try to do stuff. But then I went on the depression kick, man, and especially after surgery, all whole 9 yards. And I think coming up here was a big move for me, because I didn't want to leave down there, and I was like, oh, I got family and all this stuff. But before I left, ties with my dad ended. I had to Marchman act him, all that stuff, even though he thinks I did the wrong thing. What are you going to do, So I felt like I was like, I don't have anybody here anyway, so fuck it. Let's go. We left, came up here. I'm actually a lot happier up here. I'm not going to lie.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously your wife's happy, right?
Oh, yeah. She's a lot happier up here.
Yeah, and so like if both y'all are happy, man, then just go with it. Make the best of that. Do something with it, And this podcast again, I told you earlier, dude, and I mean it. I think that I think it's a great idea that you got going on here, and I'm really excited to see what it evolves into. You know what I mean? Like you're on ground level right now. You know what I mean? Like this thing can go anywhere. You know what I mean? And it's going to be kind of cool to sit back and watch it evolve into whatever it evolves into. And I think you should just keep doing it. You know what I mean? Keep going with it, man. Like no matter how much if it gets hard or whatever, just keep going. You know what I mean? Like turn it into something because you got potential for that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, brother, man. And it was definitely an honor having you on, my friend. Man, we go way back, and like I told everyone, it's like my military dad, dude. It's like even my regular problems I was having on a day-to-day basis, it was like, well, one, stop being a pussy and get up and do it. And two, here's some list of things that I did to get through things. So now apply it to your life. Yeah. So, I mean, definitely as a mentor, best mentor I've ever had. I've had some in my career, but by far, man, any stories I ever have to tell anybody about leadership, it always is about you. So,
well, you and I definitely have a connection, man. I don't know where that connection came from. You know what I mean? I don't know why it was even there, but like we definitely had a connection. And, I love you, man. Like I really do. And I loved watching you grow like in your military career, even though you were a fucking knucklehead,
Yeah.
but like I'm just joking with that part,
No,
what I mean? Like,
I know.
in the beginning, dude. And but yeah, dude, watching you, kind of move your way up through there, and when other people started seeing how impressive you actually were, you know what I mean? That was like it was kind of awesome seeing that because, everybody was just like, "Oh, Munson's a fucking retard." No, dude. I'm joking about that, but they were just like, "What are we gonna do with this kid?" And then after the first like AT, and then moving forward after that, everybody's like, "Holy shit!" You know what I mean? Like this kid's a fucking animal. You know what I mean? Like it's like, yeah, dude. Try to tell you, he's a monster out there, man.
That was so weird. And then the second point was even weirder because such a dark cloud hit over us. So we got done, it was the night before, and then that morning we were supposed to show up at the armory at a certain time. Everyone's getting there. Then there's like there's a missing person, and then like all of a sudden I walk out on a smoke break. I come back in, and people got their hands in their face. People are like in corners crying and shit. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Well, Sergeant Layden killed himself.
Layden, I don't know him.
He was newer. He was newer. But him and the other guy that you were friends with, he was from Keith. What's his last name? Gray. Yeah.
Oh no,
best friends with Gray.
Yeah, but that's not his name. Wasn't Layden. That didn't happen. When did that happen?
It was Sergeant Layden. It happened that day. He killed himself the night prior.
Yeah, but like, that was his last name's not Layton.
Landon. That's what it is. Landon. Sorry, forgive me.
Yeah, no. I remember that happened. Yeah, that was pretty shitty.
Yeah, I was like, God damn, dude. He had wife and kid and all that shit, bro.
Yeah, that's what's so weird about that. You know what I mean? Like this dude's coming back, man. Like Jarvis, like when he shot himself, he was a air traffic controller in Alaska, right?
Oh wow.
And we were talking, and everything was cool. And then like a month later, his mom posted up. She was like, something about sad to see. I was like, what the fuck happened? And then I got a hold of our old squad leader, or well, Jarvis's squad leader. And he was like, yeah, man, Jarvis shot himself. Like he shot himself in his chest and killed himself that way. I mean,
Why?
I don't know, dude. They were like, oh, he was, cleaning his weapon and accidentally went off. That's not true at all. You know what I mean? Like that dude shot himself in the chest, and like that was weird, man, because that hit real close to home. And then Wagner, that dude, like, he gave himself an injection of heroin that was big enough to, like, I don't remember what the term that they used, but he fucked himself up with that one. And then Titus hung himself. Like it just, but all these guys, man, are like, they had stuff going for them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, and again, we're only we're on the outside looking in, but like, when we talk about like Landon, you know what I mean? Like he looked like from the outside that he had everything going for him. You know what I mean?
Dude,
Yes. Himself, it's just weird.
It's crazy how people's demons creep up on them, because you can only put it away for so long.
Right.
And eventually it overrides you, dude. And then your shit comes out at people. You either yell, you beat people, you do whatever. And you got to learn. You have to learn that you have an issue. You have to learn that you have to get the help. Like you might not like your first 2 sessions because that counselor might tell you you're a fucking retard and you need to do something.
Right.
But you have to eat that, take it with a grain of salt, and build your new life up. Otherwise, it's going to go from 22 a day to like 100 a day. If we don't all come together, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to do this podcast, is because I want it to reach people that, even not just military, people in general that have everyday issues. I want it to meet them, or I want them to listen to this and get something out of it.
Right.
That's why it's overcoming disabilities, it's medicinal marijuana, military culture, and then coping skills, anything, man.
No, and I think that's great. You know what I mean? Like, because people need it. We need something. I don't know what we need. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe, if this podcast only touches one person and makes that person change something about themselves that allows them to live, then every bit of those hours that you put into it are worth it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's only one person, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you've made a difference in the world. Do you see what I'm saying with that? Like,
most
like
definitely.
that is, it's fucking amazing. You know what I mean? To think about something like that, like just helping one person, you've literally changed the world.
I've thought of it that way.
Yeah, dude, one person. You know what I mean? Like, and it might be their world. You may not have made a global impact on hunger, but you changed somebody's world. You changed the world for the better, right? So you keep this shit up, man. Keep it going. And anything I can do to help or support, like, you just let me know, and I'll do whatever I need to do or whatever I can do. You know what I'm saying, to help and support this.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah. Right now it's just sharing because Facebook is being a butthole and they're not letting me share because of the medicinal marijuana part.
Right. Although I do get ads for NMJ cards here in Florida. So tell me how the fuck that works.
But dude, see, I know. And because they won't let me pay for the ads. And I was telling them, I was like, I want to put like 50 down for my ads and reach like 10,000 people or whatever. And they won't let us do it. And we've done everything. We've gone down and critiqued everything. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
It's like they want to play a special little game, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They got their own agenda, but like that kind of bothers me because I could probably pull up 2 different ads right now for medical marijuana cards on my phone in my Facebook feed.
Oh, it might be the combat reload thing too. They might think combat and marijuana mixed together. They don't want to put somebody off and get sued or something. I can see that point.
Yeah, that's possible. My mom just got her NMJ card.
Dude, everyone I know is going to it. Like everyone who's like a baby boomer, whatever, further up the line, like Generation X, they're all like, you know what? Fuck alcohol, man. Or, let me cut down on it. Let me try this. Like, and everybody I know that's gone to weed off of alcohol, they're all like, I can't believe I drank in the first place.
Right.
That's how I feel. Like I don't even eat any more foods anymore that I used to eat when I was drinking.
Right.
Like just the mere smell of it makes me want to vomit.
That's good. That's real good. You got to keep that shit up too, man. Cause there's that's like the no way path. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't go anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Alcohol is a definite no-go. Like I'll see like people doing it socially and I'm like, oh, okay, I wish I had a joint right now. But like, I'm not like, hey man, let me get a beer. Cause I know I'd probably be like, Probably puke it up.
It's awesome.
I think my body's got like this negative tolerance towards it or something now.
Good. Hopefully it'll stay that way.
Well, I can't even kiss my wife when she's had wine. Just the mere smell of it makes me know this. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and like it kind of going back to that, like there's nothing wrong with like that drink here and there. Like if you know
Correct.
that somebody who can control yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who has no control over it, like you've identified that as a problem, stay the fuck away from it. You know what I mean?
That's what my issue was. I couldn't control it. You know?
Exactly. So that's awesome, man. I really am happy for you, dude. I'm glad to see you're doing much better. And, you know, I really like, I kind of apologize too, man, that like I couldn't have been there for you, you know, during some tougher times. But like I was in no position, dude. Like I was in a really bad, weird place for myself too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean, I definitely apologize for that, man. But
Well,
like, look, you're right here. You're good to go. So
yeah, you shouldn't have to apologize, man, because we all have to go through our certain times. Like even I'm pretty sure you probably have somebody that you call on when you're having like really bad issues, and they might not want to answer because they're having issues. It's like a never ending cycle almost. I get it, dude. There's no apologies, no nothing. That's where you know when you have a good friend is that you cannot talk for like 2 years and you can just pick right back up where you left off.
yeah,
Because that means that person has the patience and the respectiveness to understand what you're going through, and the same on that person. And then when they get ready, they're like, okay, now we can come together. Because I would have been on the same shit too, man. Like in 2016, I'm pretty sure you probably wouldn't have wanted to talk to me. I'd be like, oh, I'm all drunk and fucked up. Ugh.
Yeah, that would drive me crazy. But 2016, I don't even remember 2016. Like, it's a shitty ass year.
That was a bad year.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, dude, it was awesome talking to you for these last 3 hours.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, dude.
Hopefully you got some good content, you know, and
yeah, it'll be good, man. I think a lot of people are going to like your story. And then, you know, there's also, this is episode 1. We can do 2s and 3s and we can do other stuff. You know, I mean,
dude, anytime, like you just let me know, like just give me a couple weeks in advance, like I said, and that way I can plan around. And I'll definitely, whenever, man, you know, you need to fill a spot, just hit me up.
All right. Sounds good, brother.
All right, buddy. Take it easy, man. And good
All
luck.
right, all right. Love you, dude.
Love you too, brother.
All right, man. Take it easy.